Chapter 2439, Destroying a Stationary Point. After the strong cultivator of the empty space shrine said that, their group moved back and dispersed. The one who initially wanted to fight against Lin Feng was holding a halberd with 3 blades. Strength emerged from it. It was a space-lacerating halberd, it could cut apart space. Against people, it was quite efficient too, it could chop them up quickly. The cultivator attacked Mo's sealed world with the space-lacerating halberd. Fissures appeared and the world's strength dispersed. But after that, the crowd sensed the space tremble, they had the impression they were going to explode. Mou was bathing in starlights, and suddenly the space turned into a star world, shattering the spatial ties. After the seal broke, dazzling stars appeared and surrounded everybody. "Let's end the battle quickly, otherwise their people will rush over," said Mou. She looked nervous. Lin Feng had destroyed their teleportation portal, but the enemies who weren't there would realize it soon enough and then would rush over. Mou and the others couldn't waste time. "I understand," said Lin Feng. He then moved towards the empty space shrine strong cultivator who was holding the space-lacerating halberd. At the same time, Ho Qing Lin and the others also charged towards their enemies. 2 people who had just become saints moved towards Ho Qing Lin. Ho Qing Lin released reincarnation strength, startling them. Reincarnation strength was rare. Reincarnation lights appeared as Ho Qing Lin released sword strength, 6 star-like lights appeared. The atmosphere was explosive, the reincarnation strength was corroding it. 6 great divisions in the wheel of karma. The 2 cultivators' faces paled. That was the intent of the 6 great divisions in the wheel of karma. One of them raised his fist and threw a punch in Ho Qing Lin's direction. The space turned into a gigantic fire giant, its gigantic hand shot towards Ho Qing Lin. Ho Qing Lin raised his hand and reincarnation lights surrounded the giant and corroded its body away. At the same time, he grunted coldly, and raised both fists. The 6 great divisions in the wheel of karma surrounded the 2 cultivators, and they screamed, panic-stricken. One of them had half of his body stuck in the reincarnation strength, the upper half of his body still flailing outside. How could a half-saint be so strong? His saint's technique is already incredible. A really strong cultivator must have transmitted that saint's technique to him, shouted one of them anxiously. Ho Qing Lin attacked again, 6 beam of lights intertwined in the space and attacked 2 enemies. "My 6 great karma will divisions attack is a billionth of my teacher's attack," thought Ho Qing Lin, sighing. After becoming a core disciple of the Fortune Shrine, he had left with the reincarnation priest, who had taught him a lot. In the end, Ho Qing Lin had acknowledged him as a teacher, not differently from his 2 teachers. His teacher had then taught him the 6 great karma will divisions attack, but Ho Qing Lin's attack was much weaker. Ho Qing Lin had seen his teacher use the 6 great karma will divisions. When his teacher used it, the earth and the sky emitted sad and plaintive cries. It could destroy entire populations, nobody could escape. Ho Qing Lin hadn't even been able to see the intent inside because it was so complex. Ho Qing Lin jumped forwards and killed him. At the same time, Lin Feng's god's sword penetrated into the empty space shrine's low-level saint's forehead and killed him. The fire shrine's low-level saint against whom Mou was fighting was the only one left, and that battle wasn't difficult for Mou. At that moment, breaking sounds came from outside, alerting them. "Oh no!" Mou's face changed drastically, "The others arrived, they're attacking my sealed world." The fire shrine's low-level saint retreated, the others moved back to the edge of the sealed world. If the sealed world broke apart, they'd be able to leave safely. Then, they'd counterattack and surround them. "Everybody, come, let's get ready to disperse," said Mou. They gathered together. If the sealed world broke apart, they'd all leave together. "It's not that easy, they may have sealed the area outside," said Lin Feng. Mou looked worried. Those people were really fast. But even if they did, those people are, at most, those who were near the Hong clan's stationary base, so we don't have anything to fear, said Lin Feng. He took out a spear, a medium-level saint's weapon. If he used his two other saint's weapons, people would recognize him. He had to use a different kind of saint's weapon. The long spear shot towards the fire shrine's low-level saint, who glared at Lin Feng anxiously. The fire shrine's strong cultivator was desperate. Two low-level saints had already been killed by Lin Feng. He was scared. He condensed fire original strength, and the space around him started burning as fire giants appeared all around him. At the same time, a fire god appeared around him, bathing him in flames. The earth and the sky started burning, too, turning everything glaring red. Die! He shouted furiously. The fire giants stretched out their hands at Lin Feng. So many hands appeared all around Lin Feng. A terrifying absorbing strength emerged from his spear. The fire turned into a beam of light and was drawn into the spear. The spear turned bright red. That saint's weapon contains absorbing strength. The fire shrine's strong cultivator pulled a long face. A terrifying dragon appeared and absorbed the energies around him. The spear continued absorbing the fire strength, and the fire giants slowed down as Lin Feng released slow strength. Lin Feng turned into a beam of light. He threw his spear and condensed fast strength in it. It was impossible to follow it with the eye. The fire shrine saint screamed defiantly. The giant behind him threw out his hand. Die, said Lin Feng. His spear shot towards the other's third eye. The fire shrine's strong cultivator was astonished. He couldn't believe his eyes. How was this possible? Flames invaded the space around him. He was bathing in flames, but he had no time to release his full strength. His attack vanished into nothing. Lin Feng's slow and fast strengths were incredible, and when he used such attacks against half-saints, they couldn't do anything at all. They just died instantly. How strong! Mou shivered when she saw Lin Feng. She had hopes again. Maybe this Mu Lin could really change things in Diu City. At that moment, her sealed world broke apart, and a group of people appeared outside. When they saw that their allies had disappeared inside, they were shocked. Come with me, said Lin Feng. He released fast strength which surrounded the whole group, and they shot away. Lin Feng released earth and empty space original strength and condensed it into his spear. He accelerated and reached his maximum speed. Let's go. Lin Feng and the others sensed a terrifying energy fill the air in the distance. They broke talismans and disappeared. As expected, they have deployment talismans. The strong cultivators didn't chase them, as the strongest cultivators of the Hong clan had been killed. Very quickly, even more people gathered and pulled long faces. One of their stationary bases had been destroyed by their enemy, and none of their soldiers were left. We need to inform the 4 other officers that a strong cultivator has shown up. He can easily kill low-level saints in a short time, and even destroy a stationary base, said one of them. They had to think of ways to protect themselves. They couldn't let the same thing happen again. Chapter 2440, Trap. Lin Feng and Mou arrived somewhere else. They had already used several deployment talismans. Once they were far enough away, they felt relieved. The enemies had 4 high-level saints, after all. They couldn't protect themselves against those terrifying cultivators. Phew, Mou took a deep breath. She was still wearing her armor and looking graceful in it. She smiled and stared at Lin Feng. What? Asked Lin Feng, smiling. I want to get to know you, said Mou smiling. She put out her hand and smiled at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and shook her hand freely. At the level of low-level saints, killing enemies is extremely difficult, even if the difference in strength is big. Usually, those who are defeated have the choice to escape. However, today, you proved me wrong. Your attacks looked ordinary, but you easily killed the enemy with them, even though they were at the same cultivation level as you. From now on, I'll stay with you, said Mou. She knew that what Lin Feng had done was extraordinary. She had also been amazed by Ho Qinglin. He was just a half-saint, but his attacks were incredible, worthy of a legendary priest's disciple. His identity was extraordinary. Ho Qinglin had come with Lin Feng, and Lin Feng looked like the leader. She could imagine that Lin Feng had a particular status in the Fortune Shrine. Following me can be dangerous. If the high-level saints had come a moment ago, it wouldn't have been fun. It was the first time, next time will be difficult. We can't use the same strategy again, said Lin Feng. Mou was impressed and nodded. Indeed, they had killed 3 low-level saints at once. It was a splendid and glorious victory, but it wouldn't happen again. So what do we do next? Asked Mou. If they couldn't attack by surprise anymore, what could they do? I don't know. I need to think, said Lin Feng. Yes, everyone should think, said Ho Qinglin nodding. What if we disappeared for some time and came back at some point? Asked Mou. She was nervous. No, said one of the cultivators with them, shaking his head. Yan Qing, what's your idea? Asked Lin Feng. Yan Qing had passed the exam at the same time as Jun Mo Shi and Ho Qinglin. He was also extremely strong. We should fish in troubled waters and reap benefit from confusion. The more confused the enemies are, the more chances we have to achieve what we want. If they are calm and serene, they will have time to set up a great defense strategy, and we won't be able to do anything anymore, said Yan Qing, shaking his head. I have an idea, but it's dangerous. Tell us, then, said Lin Feng. Master Mu Lin, you're a low-level saint, you kill strong cultivators of the same level quickly. Master Mou and Ho Qinglin can kill half-saints quickly. Jun Mo Shi and I can't do that. Jun Mo Shi and I can become bait. We can feign an attack, then when someone discovers us, we escape. It's a sensitive period, they definitely don't have a great strategy yet, they must be badly organized right now. It's an opportunity for you, but that strategy requires lots of deployment talismans to escape, and it's also very dangerous, said Yan Qing. Lin Feng and the others looked thoughtful. I don't think it's that dangerous, it's only dangerous for those who get attacked by surprise, said Jun Mo Shi. After attacking, they could leave immediately. You can do that, I'll attack alone, said Lin Feng to the people. No. If there are many people, we can all disperse and move in different directions, which would be good to distract them. If you're alone, they might set a trap and catch you. There are many saints from the empty space shrine among our enemies. They are experts at controlling empty space energy. They can seal the area anytime, said Ho Qinglin, shaking his head. He didn't want to let Lin Feng take risks alone. It's precisely the reason why I think it's the best if I attack alone. The more people we are, the more dangerous it gets for us, said Lin Feng. Don't worry. My goal is only to kill a low-level saint. We can slowly kill their low-level saints and then at some point, they'll have as many low-level saints as us. Then, we won't be in a weak position anymore. Are you worried about me? Said Lin Feng smiling, let's do it like that. Alright, I agree, said Mou. What do you want me to do? Feign an attack. Or attack. I'll just listen to you. My life is your hands. Alright, I'll protect you then, said Lin Feng, smiling and nodding. Since they had already attacked by surprise once, they couldn't attack a second time by surprise, so Lin Feng hoped the strategy would work. He hoped he'd manage to kill a low-level saint, and 2 would be even better. Where do we act? Asked Yan Qing. The Ling clan. Last time, we went there, but didn't take anything from them. This time, it has to change, Lin Feng grinned nastily. The others nodded. Alright, said Yan Qing. They were all extraordinary people, otherwise, they wouldn't have passed. They admired Lin Feng though, he could make deployment talismans, he had incredible fighting abilities, even Mou admired and respected him. Alright, let's do it then, dear friends, said Lin Feng smiling. We're done with the details I think, should we go? Alright, everybody agreed. They wanted to help Lin Feng kill a low-level saint, at least one, and if they succeeded, the Fortune Shrine would feel less pressured. It was dawn in Diu City. After what had happened on the previous evening, the Fire Shrine and the Empty Space Shrine were extremely nervous, and even the Lin clan was nervous. They had been attacked on the day before, but luckily, they hadn't lost any saint, just some face. But the Lin clan didn't know what to do. They were occupied by shrines. What could they do? They couldn't say anything. Even if they hoped the shrines would change their stationary base, they couldn't say anything. The continent of the 9 clouds was in a state of chaos. All the clans had their own ideas and none wanted to be destroyed. The relations they had with other groups was complex. A few li away from the gate of the Lin clan, someone appeared, walking slowly. That person was wearing ordinary clothes, a hat, and looked like a tourist. It was Lin Feng, about to attack the Lin clan. He had gotten prepared. Mou and the others were going to attack the Lin clan by surprise, and then Lin Feng would attack once the situation was chaotic and try to kill a low-level saint. That was his plan. But as Lin Feng got closer to the Lin clan, he didn't feel safe. The sensation was becoming more and more intense. That kind of feeling, it's the intuition I get because of the Celestial Tao Destiny technique. It could be dangerous, thought Lin Feng, frowning. He didn't feel relaxed at all, and acted promptly. He took out a talisman and said, "Plan cancelled. Disperse." "We're about to attack, how could we give up?" replied Mou. At that moment, an attack descended from the sky and attacked the Lin clan. "Disperse, Jun Mo Shi, fellow disciple, Yan Qing, disperse," said Lin Feng, contacting everyone personally. Lin Feng realized that the ground under his feet was golden. Lights surrounded his body. Those lights surrounded everybody li away, including the members of the Lin clan. What a powerful attack. The atmosphere is becoming chaotic. Only a high-level saint could do that, thought Lin Feng. He was petrified. He took out a deployment talisman and broke it. However, he didn't disappear. The atmosphere around him was in chaos, he couldn't control anything. Lin Feng pulled a long face. This deployment spell could constrict deployment talismans. Mou realized that, too. Mou was stupefied. This time, they hadn't destroyed the teleportation portal. The situation was extremely dangerous. "Officer Qin Yi, we're in the Lin clan and we're in danger. Help us." Mou sensed danger and immediately contacted Qin Yi. The Lin clan's teleportation portal kept flashing. Qi filled the air. Mou saw strong cultivators moving towards them. "Go!" shouted Mou urgently. Jun Mo Shi, Ho Qin Lin, and Qin Lin dispersed. "Come here." A dazzling light streaked across the sky. It was Lin Feng, riding a saint's weapon. Mou was stupefied and said, "Moron. Who told you to show yourself?" Lin Feng smiled at the angry Mou and said, "You're the moron, I told you I'd protect you." He shot towards Ho Qin Lin and said, "Come here." Ho Qin Lin, Jun Mo Shi, and Yan Qing weren't very strong. If they stayed alone, they would be in danger, especially if they couldn't use deployment talismans. They wouldn't be able to escape. Chapter 2441, Encircling a furious warrior. Lin Feng's boat moved extremely quickly. He didn't intend to battle at all, and flew away. However, they saw talismans appeared in front of them. A dazzling golden wall appeared and flashed unceasingly before them. "Break!" Lin Feng threw his spear at the wall. It hit hard, but only a small hole appeared. It wasn't big enough. Lin Feng and the others pulled long faces. Bad luck. Their 3 high-level saints seemed to know a lot about deployment spells. After what happened in the Hong clan, they cast such a gigantic deployment spell, and now we're inside it, said Mou. She was very nervous. If the high-level saints attacked them, they'd die quickly. They didn't stand a chance against high-level saints, the difference between them and low-level saints was gigantic. They're not in a rush, they're gathering strong cultivators. They don't want to take the risk to attack alone, said Ho Chin Lin, turning his head around and gazing into the distance. Their enemies knew they couldn't escape. After what had happened in the Hong clan, their enemies had seen how strong they were. If they could kill low-level saints in such a short time, they couldn't afford taking risks. They had to be very vigilant. The high-level saints haven't shown up yet, Lin Feng said coldly when he saw that strong cultivators were gathering. More than 10 low-level saints. Even if their high-level saints don't come, we will all die, unless our people arrive in time, whispered Mou pulling a long face. Did you contact them? Lin Feng asked her. Of course, I don't want to die, said Mou. I know why the high-level saints didn't show up, asked Yan Qing. Mou gazed into the distance. The fire shrine and the empty space shrine want to kill us all in one strike, said Yan Qing. They guessed the fortune shrine was going to send people to help us, so they thought of a solution to stop them. If it were me, I wouldn't miss that opportunity, Lin Feng nodded. The strong cultivators of the fire shrine and the empty space shrine held the numeric advantage. They had 4 high-level saints, the fortune shrine only had 3. So even if all their low-level saints showed up, it wouldn't change anything since their enemies had more high-level saints. A dozen low-level saints is enough to get rid of us. What should we do now, said Mou. The enemies could already put pressure on them. Mou, seal the 3 of them within a sealed world, Lin Feng said to her. Mou was startled, and protested, you're crazy. There are a dozen low-level saints there, all of them have powerful saints techniques, and they all have saints weapons. Trust me, said Lin Feng. At that moment, he looked so calm it was scary. Ho Chin Lin and the others couldn't fight against low-level saints. That's why Lin Feng asked Mou to put them in a sealed world. All right, said Mou. She looked gloomy. When she saw how determined Lin Feng looked, she sealed their allies in a world. During the battle, get ready to release even more sealing strength. Try to seal me and as few people as possible in the same world, Lin Feng said to Mou telepathically. Mou's eyes twinkled. She was surprised, but replied, all right, I understand. Stay away for now, I will stay in the front, said Lin Feng, flashing forwards. Their enemies were surprised at his bravery. Mu Lin, be careful. Mou called out. She was extremely nervous. If she wasn't mistaken, the high-level saints of the opposite army had probably gone to fight against the high-level saints of the Fortune Shrine. That way, even if the high-level saints of the Fortune Shrine wanted to come and help, they couldn't. It was a very dangerous situation, as Lin Feng and Mou couldn't escape. At least, she was convinced it was impossible. Lin Feng was firmly holding his spear. He had already fought against many low-level saints in the past in the Star World, but then, the 9 bestial saints were the most powerful of enemies. They disdained the examinees. Of course, at that moment, even though his enemies were not as strong as the bestial saints, they were still very strong, but Lin Feng was also really strong himself. Lin Feng raised his spear and a special chi appeared. Original strength filled the air. Be careful, the space contains illusion original strength. That guy can make people believe nothing has happened. We need to join hands and kill him as quickly as possible, said a strong cultivator of the empty space shrine. His eyes were golden, as if he could see through all things. A dazzling light filled the air, it contained saint strength. All sorts of original strengths started rising up in the air and stirring restlessly. The space started shaking. An invisible and intangible wind started blowing. But in the end, those whirlwinds all moved towards Lin Feng. Die, shouted a strong cultivator extremely loudly. Dazzling golden lights streaked across the sky and turned into cage. Lin Feng was inside. At the same time, above Lin Feng, a gigantic hand appeared and descended from the sky with a rumble of thunder, flames blazing around it. It looked like a burning mountain falling from the sky, red as blood and fire. It burned away all the qi in its way. A sharp golden sword also shot towards Lin Feng. Mu Lin. Mou's face paled. The saints' attacks blotted out the sky and covered the earth. The low-level saints didn't get close to him, but they used their most powerful attacks to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng flashed away and released a terrifying heavy strength. The atmosphere became heavy and oppressive. It was difficult to breathe. Slow, said Lin Feng. Everything around him became slow. Then, Lin Feng put his spear in front of him. Illusory shadows appeared with 3 heads and 6 arms, ancient imprints appeared around them, and the golden cage tore apart. At the same time, the heavy strength turned into ancient imprints and struck all the attacks around him. Some attacks continued moving towards him. Lin Feng raised his spear again and spun it. An explosive qi emerged from his spear, the gigantic fire hand crackled, and Lin Feng stabbed the hand with his spear. He looked like a warlord, a god of war. Mou, get ready to seal me him in another space so that others can't influence me, said Lin Feng telepathically. Mou nodded. Lin Feng was even stronger than she had thought. He controlled many sorts of original strengths. Alright, but against those people's attacks, my world strength is not very useful. They will be able to break it in a few seconds, said Mou to Lin Feng. She had to tell him clearly, otherwise things would be even more dangerous for Lin Feng. A small mistake could lead to his death. A few seconds is enough, replied Lin Feng. Mou looked at him admiringly. She was confident he could help. Interesting. At that moment, a saint looked at Lin Feng as if he were prey. He didn't hurry to attack. Lin Feng was very strong, so they had to be careful. The best thing was to disperse a little so that their attacks wouldn't have an impact on their allies. They had to get closer to Lin Feng to kill him by using their most powerful saints' techniques. They had to act quickly, too. Empty space, Barry, said a voice coldly. Empty space strength suddenly blotted out the sky and covered the earth, surrounding Lin Feng. Lin Feng tried to move, but the strength constricted him. He was stuck in a small and narrow empty space tunnel, and the empty space energy was corroding his body. Lin Feng's eyes glittered as he glanced at an old man with golden eyes. He was a powerful low-level saint of the empty space shrine. Chapter 2442, Killing Lin Feng was surrounded and buried by empty space strength. He understood that if the old man was a high-level saint, he would have crushed him instantly, especially if his empty space strength had reached the maximum level. However, the old man was still very strong. Lin Feng's spear contained a powerful absorbing strength. He raised it, and it started absorbing the empty space strength around him furiously. The empty space strength went wild. The golden-eyed old man was startled, his eyes flaring. He raised his hand and an empty space tower appeared above Lin Feng. Go in, said the old man coldly. The empty space tower descended towards Lin Feng. At the same time, more empty space strength surrounded Lin Feng and constricted him. A saint's weapon. Lin Feng was impressed. It was an extremely powerful saint's weapon that could imprison people. There was definitely a world inside. When the others saw that, they didn't hurry to attack Lin Feng. If the old man managed to capture Lin Feng in his tower, they wouldn't need to continue fighting. Mu Lin, that guy's name is Su Yu, he's a very powerful low-level saint. He is also enigmatic and unfathomable. That tower is called the Holy Imprisoning Pagoda. It's a medium-level saint's weapon, said Mou, her face stiff. The strong cultivator against whom Lin Feng was fighting was famous, his attacks and his holy imprisoning pagoda were fearsome. Get ready to seal. When I tell you, seal him and me in the same world, replied Lin Feng telepathically. Mou was amazed, this guy was so self-confident. She ground her teeth and released an incredible chi. She said, alright, when you need me to do it, just tell me, I'm ready. It'll last for a few seconds. That's enough, replied Lin Feng. He released a terrifying sword energy, and the empty space strength which surrounded him crackled and broke apart. He eyed the holy imprisoning pagoda. It was dazzling, and the space around it was chaotic. The holy imprisoning pagoda moved towards Lin Feng, but it couldn't get any closer. Lin Feng had used his great empty space technique, he could use it not only on his own body, but on other things as well. Lin Feng raised his spear. Suyu saw a rising dragon, his heart twitched, was he dreaming? It looked so real. He's using an illusion. Suyu was startled. Lin Feng said to Mou, start. Mou nodded. Suddenly, stars appeared around Lin Feng and Suyu, and the others' faces changed. Oh no, kill him. After that, they moved towards the star world together and attacked. At the same time, Lin Feng jumped forwards, it looked like he was walking slowly, but actually, during those few milliseconds, his illusion was corroding his enemy's soul. Suyu retreated, covered with cold sweat. Suddenly, another dragon moved towards him and opened its mouth. Suyu released as many empty space lights as he could, trying to crush the dragon even if it was an illusion. However, at the moment the dragon pierced through the empty space strength and turned into a spear, it continued moving towards Suyu faster than the eye. Suyu didn't have time to react, he was trembling as a wound appeared on his third eye and blood splashed. Lin Feng waved his hands and sliced into his enemy's forehead, dispersing his soul. Mou was astonished and trembled. Lin Feng had killed a saint again, the attack looked similar to his finger attack. The enemy had hallucinated, and then Lin Feng had killed him without giving him time to react. He was just too fast. The sealing strength broke apart, and the others saw that Suyu was dead. They were astonished and had chills. That guy had killed Suyu in the blink of an eye. They knew how strong Suyu was, they had to do something against Lin Feng. When the sealed world disappeared, they all charged towards him. They wanted to crush Lin Feng. Slow, slow. Lin Feng released as much slow strength as he could to slow them down. It was as if time and space had stopped around them. However, Lin Feng still felt under pressure. An empty space hand imprint crashed onto his body, he couldn't stop it, and he coughed blood. He looked furious. Many Lin Fangs appeared all around and moved in every direction. Earth burial, said someone coldly. Earth original strength filled the air, meteorites started falling from the sky. Many of Lin Feng's clones were destroyed. A strong wind started blowing and swept out. More clones exploded. Suddenly, all the strong cultivators saw a different landscape, a dream created by Lin Feng. Then, they all had the impression he was running towards them personally to attack them. The cultivator against whom Lin Feng was really attacking was a middle-aged man. He controlled empty space original strength and two other kinds of original strength. He was very dangerous. Mou shouted Lin Feng. Mou released another sealed star world. Lin Feng and the middle-aged man appeared in a sealed world. Lin Feng was close to him so sealing them together was easy. Oh no, the others suddenly sensed sealing strength and came back to their senses. They looked at Mou and said, kill that woman first. They suddenly started flying towards Mou. She was astonished and grimaced. She raised her hand and took out a stick. It was a star stick. Break, shouted Mou. She was extremely sad to do that, her stick exploded and turned into gigantic stars. The stars turned into a firmly sealed ball with her inside. Powerful attacks bombarded her sealed star world, it crackled, however, it didn't break. It was extremely resistant. She used a medium-level saint's weapon. "We'll have to attack a few times to break it," said someone. At the same time, they continued attacking her sealed star world unceasingly. Dozens of powerful attacks continued bombarding it. There was a crack of thunder as the star world broke. Mou's face paled. She wasn't as strong as Lin Feng, and she didn't control several sorts of original strength like him who could use slow, fast, and empty space strengths. So many low-level saints surrounded her, they could easily kill her. "You want to die," sneered a voice coldly. It sounded like the voice of a demon. The crowd sensed a terrifying strength invade the space behind them. A cultivator was moving towards Mou. He raised his hand, explosive energies appeared around him. Mou looked devastated and hopeless. Was she really going to die? Slash, slash. Blood splashed on Mou's face. She closed her eyes. She sensed a terrifying sword chi. When she opened her eyes, she saw a terrifying and dazzling sword chi floating in front of her. It was protecting her. Mu Lin was in the distance and surrounded by demon energies. He was holding a demon halberd, and looked like an ancient demon. There was a low-level saint's corpse hanging on the tip of the halberd. Great demon halberd of desolation. A strong cultivator of the fire shrine stared at Lin Feng in astonishment. His face paled as he looked at Lin Feng and said, it's you, Lin Feng." "It's me," said Lin Feng. His eyes turned black, it seemed like anything could drown in those eyes. They were filled with murder. He said coldly, "Today, you're going to die." Pitch-black light beams emerged from his eyes. The whole crowd had the impression they were falling into an abyssal black hole. The one who had just recognized Lin Feng didn't even have time to react. Lin Feng beheaded him with his great demon halberd of desolation. He looked astonished as he died unwillingly. "Let's go," shouted the others desperately. They wanted to leave the illusion. 5 low-level saints were left on their side, and they didn't dare fight anymore, they were too scared. "Where are you going?" That voice seemed to come from the great demon halberd of desolation, and demons appeared all around. Lin Feng slowly walked forwards. He looked like a demon god, his enemies looked hopeless and dispirited. They had the impression they were carrying the whole world on their shoulders. How could they fight? Strong cultivators kept dying one after the other. They either disappeared or their corpses fell down to the ground when Lin Feng attacked them with his great demon halberd of desolation. Mou looked at the guy who looked like a demon god. That was Lin Feng, a cultivator many people talked about often in the Fortune Shrine. Chapter 2443, Celestial Sealing Map. Lin Feng put his great demon halberd of desolation away, and his demon energies dispersed as his god's sword went back into his hand. He looked at Mou and said, "What's wrong?" Mou was still stunned. Lin Feng looked normal again, but his voice made her heart tremble. She couldn't calm down. She finally shook her head and replied, "Nothing. But this area is still a deployment spell cast by a high-level saint, we can't break it, what do we do?" Ho Qing Lin and Jun Mo Shi came out next to them. Mo Shi had released them already. They were all astonished by Lin Feng's abilities, especially Yan Qing. He hadn't thought Lin Feng was so strong. "The area is sealed," the others probably didn't think Lin Feng would be so strong and could kill a dozen low-level saints. But their allies will quickly find out they all died. "If high-level saints come, we're doomed," said Yan Qing. At that moment, many people who had just become saints appeared in the distance, but they stayed far away. They had seen the tragic battle a moment before. Lin Feng had killed everyone. "They already told their allies about it," said Ho Qing Lin, glancing at those people. "We need to find a solution." "I'll go and try," said Lin Feng. Then, he said to Mou, "You take care of those half-saints." "All right." Mou nodded. She was a low-level saint, she could easily destroy half-saints, even if there were a lot of them. Lin Feng took his boat and flew to the edge of the deployment spell. He shouted furiously and bombarded the deployment spell with his ruler's sword. However, it was useless. He couldn't break it. The original strength of a high-level saint was too powerful for him. It seems like I have no choice, I need to ask a bestial saint for help, or we won't be able to break free. Or I could also gamble and hope that a high-level saint of the fortune shrine comes. Then it'd mean that we'd have to wait and see which high level comes first, ours or theirs, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't feel like using another bestial saint though, as he could ask them for help only once. As he had expected, the news quickly spread into Yu City. The fire shrine quickly informed the other shrines. Lin Feng was different from the other enemies. At the top of a celestial fire mountain in the fire shrine, a strong cultivator was seated cross-legged. In front of him, light curtains appeared, showing different shrines' leaders. "Why did you summon us?" asked a cultivator wearing an empty space robe of the fire shrine's leader. He looked unhappy. "Haven't you heard the news? Lin Feng is in the Yu City, and he killed a dozen of our low-level saints," said the fire shrine's leader. The other was astonished. Someone else asked, "So what?" "Humph. The forbidden body isn't the sole responsibility of the fire shrine. We're all responsible for getting rid of it. If you don't want to fight a war against the fortune shrine, it's your problem, but back then, we all agreed to get rid of the forbidden person. So many strong cultivators have died already, now the world is in a state of chaos, you know what it means. If a new god appears, you will all be crushed, even if you are a shrine. You will have no choice but to acknowledge allegiance to him. You'll become a joke in the continent of the 9 clouds. Maybe then, your lives will be in someone else's hands, maybe the fortune shrine will reign over the world and will do whatever they want to you," said the fire shrine's leader coldly. "The forbidden body is there, and we have to kill him, unless you think the fortune shrine will forget about all these years of tensions." Everybody looked surprised. Their ultimate goal in life, as strong cultivators, was to become really peerless. They wanted to become stronger than anyone else in the world. They wanted to become the single god. They wanted to be unreachable, so that nobody would be able to catch up with them. If they allowed anyone to surpass and oppress them, then it became impossible. It also meant they acknowledged that person as a god. How could they let the fortune shrine become so powerful? "I've heard that some high-level saints protect him, a very powerful one. Unless we send a peerless saint, we can't kill Lin Feng. The fortune shrine won't just stand by and look on," said a shrine's leader. "The empty space shrine has the celestial sealing map, doesn't it? Can't you take it out? Seal all the members of the fortune shrine into Yu City, I'll personally send a peerless saint to kill Lin Feng," said the fire shrine's leader. "But I also hope that everybody will help and cooperate. Don't stay on the side and watch. You also need to help. Otherwise, I don't care, we'll just let Lin Feng grow and become strong." "Is that so? But Lin Feng hates the fire shrine more than any other shrine," someone smiled. "If you think the fortune shrine will be nice to the ice and snow shrine if they become the ultimate leaders of the world, then just sit aside and watch," replied the fire shrine's leader. "Your plan is that we take out the celestial sealing map, you send a peerless saint, the others help, and that way we can destroy the fortune shrine. But we need to get ready first," said the empty space shrine's leader. The fire shrine's leader smiled, "We'll all gather into Yu City." In the Yu City, Lin Feng couldn't do much, he had to get help from a bestial saint. Lin Feng was really annoyed. The bestial saint just came out and broke the seal, then left without doing anything. He had promised them they would only need to help once. There were only 9 high-level bestial saints in the star world, so Lin Feng only had 9 opportunities. Regarding the 3 peerless bestial saints, they disdained him and didn't listen to him. But Lin Feng understood. He was extremely weak in comparison to them. It was already difficult to convince the high-level bestial saints. The Leng clan had already been turned into a field of ruins. He had already killed all the saints. Lin Feng was convinced that these were severe losses for the Fire Shrine and the Empty Space Shrine. "I wonder how the other battle is going," whispered Lin Feng. "Should we go and see?" said Mou. "No need. We can't join the high-level saints' battle. What just happened will quickly reach them. That way, I'm convinced the high-level saints will know when to move back," said Lin Feng. Mou nodded. She was curious though, where did the high-level saint Lin Feng had called come from? Why had he just broken the seal and then left? She guessed Lin Feng had a treasure, but she couldn't ask him about that. Everybody had secrets. Lin Feng was just too mysterious. Somewhere in Diyu City was a teleportation portal. At that moment, it twinkled. Empty space strength rolled in waves around it. Someone was coming from very far away. Many people noticed it in Diyu City, including Lin Feng and the others. The teleportation portal didn't twinkle only once, but several times. Lin Feng and the others frowned. Mou pulled a long face. "There, it's a stationary base of the two shrines." "They possibly," whispered Mou. Her face stiffened. "Maybe they teleported directly from the shrines," said Lin Feng. "Yes. I didn't think they would pay so much attention to the battlefields of Diyu City, to the extent that they would make a teleportation portal in the shrine to get here. The Fortune Shrine doesn't even have one," said Mou. She was annoyed. If strong cultivators can teleport directly from their shrines, then they're probably high-level saints. "We must inform the Fortune Shrine's masters and tell them we need to leave Diyu City." "Leave?" Lin Feng was surprised. "We should, temporarily at least. We can't do much if they keep sending in new troops," said Mou. However, at that moment, in the distance, some dazzling lights appeared in the sky, and empty space strength appeared everywhere above Diyu City. "What's that?" Mou was astonished. She shuddered with fear. A terrifying ocean of empty space was rolling in the sky. What was the Empty Space Shrine doing? Chapter 2444, A Deal with the Peerless Bestial Saint Lin Feng and the others raised their heads in awe. A gigantic web of lights appeared in the sky and covered the whole city. "It's a recording map," said Jun Mo Shi, stunned. "Celestial Sealing Map." Mou trembled even more violently, her face pale. That was the legendary Celestial Sealing Map of the Empty Space Shrine. Celestial Sealing Map. Lin Feng looked surprised. He had read many books, he knew what the Celestial Sealing Map was. It was an empty space treasure, it could seal gigantic regions, and at that moment, the Empty Space Shrine was using it to seal Diyu City. "The Empty Space Shrine wants to seal the whole town," said Mou. Her mouth was wide open in shock. Strong cultivators from shrines had teleported to Diyu City, and now they were sealing the city. Diyu City was an almost insignificant battlefield to do such a thing. Maybe it was for Lin Feng. "Lin Feng, what do we do?" "They're probably coming for you," said Mou. She was panic-stricken. Lin Feng frowned, and looked furious. The shrines were doing all they could to kill him once again. They even used the Celestial Sealing Map. "Let's disperse," said Lin Feng to Mou and the others. He also thought the shrines were looking for him. He couldn't stay with Mou and the others, otherwise, they'd be in danger, too. "No, we need to ask the Fortune Shrine for help," said Ho Qing Lin. The Fortune Shrine would definitely help if the other shrines tried to kill Lin Feng. No time anymore. "Brother, you don't know how powerful the Celestial Sealing Map is. Even if the Fortune Shrine sends some peerless saints, they won't be able to break it," said Lin Feng. Ho Qing Lin pulled a long face. The Celestial Sealing Map was too powerful. Since the Empty Space Shrine has the Celestial Sealing Map, the Fortune Shrine must have terrifying items to resist as well, said Jun Mo Shi indifferently. The shrines all probably had trump cards. Indeed, said Ho Chin Lin nodding. Let's not think about that for now. You guys find a place to hide, gather with the other strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine, said Lin Feng. He didn't let them talk, he continued, anyway, they won't find me easily. After that, Lin Feng's silhouette flickered and he streaked across the sky. Mou and the others were stunned. He doesn't want us to be put in danger, whispered Mou, watching Lin Feng disappear into the distance. Ho Chin Lin clenched his fists. He felt powerless. He couldn't help his friend. On the contrary, if he stayed with Lin Feng, he would even be a burden. At that moment, many people raised their heads in Diyu City. Many strong cultivators knew that Diyu City had just been sealed. In a place where the qi was thick and rich, someone who had invited people for a banquet sensed that the area was being sealed. He raised his head, and looked unhappy. Who did that? Master, I came to inform you, since you're a supreme cultivator, it's the celestial sealing map of the empty space shrine, said someone, standing up. The fire shrine and the empty space shrine are fighting against the fortune shrine in Diyu City for control over the city. You might be involved at some point, since you're a supreme cultivator. I didn't think they'd use the celestial sealing map though. What does that have to do with me? Asked that supreme cultivator indifferently. The world is in a state of chaos. The shrines need people, they need resources, they need strength. Therefore, they want to keep good relations with the local people and they want them to help if needed, said that person with a smile. The supreme cultivator nodded. He understood. I don't want to have anything to do with them, said that supreme cultivator indifferently. The others looked at him politely. Regarding the empty space shrine's actions, many people in Diyu City were unhappy, but what could they do? And what was going on in Diyu City? Why were they using the celestial sealing map? Diyu City was big. Lin Feng was on his boat and he flying away. He found a mountain range and sat down cross-legged. He immediately went into his star world. Master Ox, said Lin Feng to the old ox. He said, some peerless saints might be coming to kill me. If I hide here, can they find me? Of course, nothing can escape from peerless saints' godly awareness. If you hide in the praying mat which is the star world, if a peerless saint sees it, he will think there's something strange and he will find you, unless he decides to ignore it, said the old ox. Lin Feng's face stiffened. Diyu City was sealed, he couldn't escape. If he went into his own world, the qi could still be sensed outside, he couldn't hide from a peerless saint's godly awareness. Do you have an idea? What could I do this time? Lin Feng asked the old ox. In the star world, there are 3 peerless saints, convince them to help you, said the old ox calmly. Lin Feng frowned. The 3 peerless saints didn't want to help him. How could he convince them? I have no choice but to try, I guess. Even if all the high-level bestial saints agreed to help, it'd be useless, Lin Feng smiled. He disappeared and reappeared in front of the 3 peerless bestial saints. They were all at the top of a mountain. Their eyes were closed, they didn't even look at Lin Feng. The old ox appeared next to Lin Feng and smiled, I myself can't even convince these 3 guys. I can't help you either. Back in the days, when my master recruited them, they were unwilling to submit until he became a very peerless cultivator, and nobody else was stronger than him anymore. After he disappeared, nobody has ever managed to get help from them. Lin Feng nodded and looked at them, saying, Masters. The 3 of them were still seated cross-legged, they didn't even look at Lin Feng. He was annoyed. Guys, Lin Feng is the new master of the star world, give him face, said the old ox indifferently. One of them opened his eyes and glanced at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's soul shook under those eyes. Speak, said that cultivator indifferently. Master, the shrines might be sending some peerless saints to kill me, I need you to help me, said Lin Feng. Only peerless saints could help Lin Feng in such circumstances. Why? Asked that cultivator in a cold and detached way. Lin Feng replied calmly, the shrines have been chasing me because I have a forbidden body, and according to legends, it is said that if a forbidden person appears, the continent of the 9 clouds will sink into a state of chaos, and a new god might appear. You guys are all peerless saints, but you've been stuck at that cultivation level for a long time. If someday I become as strong as you or even stronger, I'll help you. A god is a concept you don't understand. Besides, it's not even sure you could become one, and if you did, it's not even sure you could help us. Even if you did reach that level, you wouldn't be willing to help anyway, said that cultivator indifferently. It made sense, but Lin Feng felt annoyed. Becoming a god was easier said than done. Besides, if someone became a god, would they be willing to help others become gods? Lin Feng sighed and said, since it's that way, I'm off. He sounded neither haughty nor humble, and turned around. They didn't trust him, and he couldn't convince them. If it was his fate to die, then he was going to die. Wait, that cultivator said suddenly. Lin Feng turned back around and asked, Master, how may I help you? You're the new master of the star world. If you become a high-level saint, I'll help you, said that cultivator calmly. Lin Feng was stunned. Did he have time to become a high-level saint? The city was sealed. Shrines cultivators were coming. Did he have time to practice cultivation? I will do my best, said Lin Feng. If you don't trust yourself, why would we trust you, said that person indifferently. He closed his eyes again. Lin Feng was stupefied. Chapter 2445, People's Plans and Actions. Lin Feng left the Star World, looking calm and detached. The empty space shrine's strong cultivators had decided to use the celestial sealing map, so peerless saints attacking were also a possibility. They had been a bit too careless this time when they had decided to attack the Lin clan. They had underestimated the fire shrine and the empty space shrine. Now Mou and Ho Qin Lin were in danger too, and Lin Feng had also been uncovered. Of course, Lin Feng hadn't thought the shrines would do so much to kill him. This time, the city is completely sealed. Peerless saints could arrive anytime. All I need is time, thought Lin Feng. Even though peerless saints could inspect the whole town with their godly awareness, the city was a big city. If they wanted to inspect the whole town, they would need time, too. Lin Feng needed to hide properly enough to save time. The most dangerous place is a place nobody would consider a good place to hide, thought Lin Feng. He changed his face, body, and qi, and then disappeared from there. The city was sealed, and the strong cultivators from the shrines who had teleported there were already looking for Lin Feng. Even if they couldn't find Lin Feng, they would try to find members of the Fortune Shrine to kill them. That way, they wouldn't waste time, but they'd also be able to take over the city. Peerless saints didn't really care about such things. If it wasn't for Lin Feng, no peerless saint would have come. Peerless saints were the most precious cultivators of the shrines. Shrines didn't have many peerless saints, they were extremely rare. Besides, they stood aloof from worldly affairs, and they didn't listen to anyone's orders. Everybody was very polite to peerless saints. At that moment, Officer Qin Yi and the others were being chased. The battles were fierce. Mou also fought against other people. Disperse, some people are coming to help them, we can't fight forever, shouted Officer Qin Yi to the members of the Fortune Shrine. The others retreated. However, their enemies continued chasing them. They were wasting time, and weren't in a rush to win the battles. They followed Mou closely. Mou, seal, shouted someone. It was Lin Feng's voice. Mou was surprised. She nodded and sealed the area. The strong cultivator who Mou was fighting against was surprised. He turned around and saw a dazzling sword. He didn't have time to react and was killed. He had thought the sword wasn't close yet. "Lin Feng, how come you're back already?" asked Mou. She didn't understand, and pulled a long face. Lin Feng couldn't show up. "Lin Feng will leave with his boat, help me do something," Lin Feng said to her telepathically. Mou nodded and replied, "All right, I hope you can deceive them." After that, the strong cultivators of the Fire Shrine and the Empty Space Shrine saw Lin Feng leave with his boat, which was an incredible saint's weapon. It was extremely fast. Many people saw Lin Feng leave and chased after him. The order they had received was to kill Lin Feng. Of course, some people stayed to deal with the members of the Fortune Shrine. Mou was fighting against someone. She took out a saint's weapon and said, "This saint's weapon doesn't have a master anymore. It's a medium-level saint's weapon, and if you continue chasing me, it'll belong to someone else." She withdrew. The man was surprised, and used his godly awareness to inspect the weapon. He was surprised, it was indeed a medium-level saint's weapon. How tempting. That woman didn't care about anything anymore but her life, to the extent that she threw the weapon away to escape. A medium-level saint's weapon is worth it, thought Li Xiao. Killing Mou wasn't that beneficial to him in comparison to a medium-level saint's weapon. That weapon would allow him to be that much stronger. In such circumstances, people chose what was the best for them. Li Xiao flew towards the weapon and looked happy. It was a sword, and it didn't have a master. It was a sword. He smiled indifferently. He put it in his ring and then raised his head. Mou had already disappeared. Li Xiao didn't mind, though. The Fortune Shrine also learned that the Yu City had been sealed. In the sky, some strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine were above the clouds and looking at the ground. They flew, but not in the Yu City's direction. The shrines and the supreme animal world ruled over the continent of the 9 clouds. All the shrines knew things which other people didn't know. They didn't allow other shrines to show up in places where they could obtain information. They dared act insolently when other shrines tried because of 3 reasons. First, the shrines sent saints where they could obtain as much information as possible. Second, the shrines all had at least 3 peerless saints. That was a principle in the continent of the 9 clouds. Third, the shrines all had extremely powerful weapons. The Empty Space Shrine wasn't the only shrine which had something like the celestial sealing map. Every shrine had something like that, including the Fortune Shrine. That's why there was a balance of power. Nobody dared take out their trump cards. If they did, other shrines would attack them right after. The shrines were very cautious, but because of the forbidden body, the world had become chaotic. The strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine were flying in the direction of the Empty Space Shrine. Since the Empty Space Shrine had taken out the celestial sealing map, then, they didn't need to be polite either. They had the opportunity to show the Empty Space Shrine which didn't have the celestial sealing map anymore that it'd be difficult to deal with the Fortune Shrine's peerless weapon. As the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine flew towards the Empty Space Shrine, the strong cultivators of the Fire Shrine were already in Yu City. Xiong Fan was a strong cultivator of the Fire Shrine who hadn't shown up for many years. He had had an ordinary life for a very long time, but he hadn't become any less strong or sharp. When he landed on the ground, oppressive energies filled the space around him. Many people felt pressured, they didn't know why, but they felt like kneeling down and worshipping him. He was a peerless saint, he had transcended worldliness. He was already among the strongest cultivators of the continent of the 9 clouds. At his cultivation level, only gods were stronger. High-level saints like to say, it's easy to become a high-level saint, but it's difficult to become a peerless saint. Of course, they were the only ones who said that, because becoming a high-level saint was extremely difficult. Low-level saints were angry when they heard that, but once they became high-level saints, they understood. There were many high-level saints in the continent of the 9 clouds, but there were definitely not many peerless saints. Xiong Fan rose up in the air, looking like a god. Many people sensed a fearsome godly awareness inspect them. Who dared inspect them with their godly awareness without the slightest scruple? In any case, nobody could say anything. Many people raised their heads and looked at Xiong Fan, sighing at his strength. Why was that strong cultivator in Diyu City? Why had the shrine decided to use the celestial sealing map? What were they looking for? He moved his godly awareness extremely quickly, but Diyu City was gigantic. Even if he was fast, he couldn't inspect the whole town that quickly. I found some people from the Fortune Shrine, send some people, said Xiong Fan indifferently. Then, some images appeared in the sky. Those images were pictures of the place where Saint Qingyi was. Their people were still chasing people from the Fortune Shrine, but Xiong Fan didn't care about that, he was looking for Lin Feng. The sky became red, and the temperature in Diyu City became scorching hot. Many people stopped looking at the sky and lowered their heads. They felt uncomfortable, but nobody dared say anything. "Where is he?" said Xiong Fan angrily. Someone came to him and said, "Master, did you inspect the whole town?" "Yes, including the mountains, rivers and deserts." "He's not here. I can't find his qi." "My godly awareness was only stopped in one place," said Xiong Fan. That person looked worried, he knew what place that was. It was a place where there was a supreme cultivator, and they didn't know where he was from. The only reason why a supreme cultivator would have come to Diyu City would be to invade it. "What should we do?" asked the high-level saint. The world was in a state of chaos, they didn't want to offend an extremely strong cultivator. Chapter 2446, Difference between cultivators who are high-level saints. Xiong Fan's eyes twinkled and he said, "Let's go and greet that supreme cultivator," said Xiong Fan, flying away. His people followed him. They also wanted to see the supreme cultivator who was in Diyu City. Usually, the supreme cultivator was in a good mood. He wanted to settle in Diyu City. Didn't care about the shrine's battles. He was convinced the shrines wouldn't dare attack him anyway, therefore, he had invited many old and new friends. But Ordinary was annoyed because Diyu City had been sealed, so some of his friends whom he had invited would probably be stuck outside. It ruined his mood. The shrines really liked to act without the slightest scruple. Not only did they seal Diyu City but they also inspected the whole town with their godly awareness. "And now they're coming to us," said Ordinary unhappily. Master Ordinary, the shrines are arrogant and disdain people, since they rule over the continent of the 9 clouds. Anything that poses a threat to them must be destroyed," someone smiled. That person looked sharp, his qi was powerful and golden lights twinkled around him. "We're lucky we got out of that devilish place. We have mountains and rivers and we're drinking alcohol, that's awesome," said another one smiling. "Indeed. We should be happy, let's forget about them, cheers." Ordinary smiled back. After a short time, a loud voice sounded about them, "Xiong Fan from the Fire Shrine, I'm here to greet you, Your Excellency." "Since you're here, come in," said Ordinary indifferently. A group of strong cultivators came in, Xiong Fan leading the group. He glanced at them, smiled, and nodded at Ordinary, "Sorry for disturbing you during your banquet, Your Excellency." "Since you're here, have a few drinks with us," said Ordinary indifferently. Xiong Fan glanced at Ordinary and the others, hiding his surprise. Apart from Ordinary, there was a cultivator as strong as him, and there was Ao Songhai, too. "All right, thank you for your hospitality," said Xiong Fan, looking for a place to sit. He had to give them a little face, as he disturbed them, after all, and it was a sensitive period. He didn't want to offend such people. He didn't mind chatting with Ordinary, who was a supreme cultivator. Li Xiao was there, too, but his social status was rather low, and he wasn't strong enough. He stayed far away. He looked around and saw many strong cultivators. When facing Peerless saints, he had nothing to say, he had to obey when they talked. At that moment, the person everybody was looking for was in Li Xiao's ring. The sword Mo you had given to Li Xiao was bathed in lights. Lin Feng was in the star world. The solution Lin Feng had imagined was joining one of his enemies, hiding the star world in one of his enemy's rings. Finding him wouldn't be easy there. After going into the star world, Lin Feng had gone into his own world. So many years had passed, his soul world was perfect. There were all sorts of energies everywhere. There were many countries and empires, not just the empire of Shuiyu, and more cultivators. There were many places to practice, and to become stronger. And only a few decades had passed. If hundreds or thousands of years passed, then it'd become even better. Lin Feng had already established some rules in Shuiyu. He didn't allow people to kill others in the city center because he wanted the number of people to increase. Lin Feng was in the sky. To become a high-level saint, he needed to make one sort of original strength to reach the maximum level. Even though he was at the god level, he had to do that too, and now he was wondering what strength he should study to make it reach the maximum level. Gold, wood, fire, water, earth, wind, empty space, death. I can understand any sort of original strength. And I can understand them even better in my spirit world. However, how to make an original strength reach the maximum level, whispered Lin Feng. All sorts of original strengths were floating around him at that moment. The different sorts of original strengths all had their specific foibles. How could I understand God original strength, whispered Lin Feng. Maybe he needed to experience things physically to understand. When he thought about that, he left his own world and went back to the star world. The 9 high-level saints appeared in front of him. He had never really fought against a high-level saint. He wanted to see what it felt like now. He wanted to see in what way their original strength was different from his own. What was the difference between high-level saints and low-level saints? Everybody, I want to see the difference between high-level saints' strength and low-level saints. Can you help me? Asked Lin Feng. Asked the saints. The old ox appeared next to him and said, to help Lin Feng, since he wants to study, teach him a good lesson and show him how strong you are. The old ox couldn't influence peerless bestial saints, but he could influence the high-level ones. The golden ape jumped forwards. All right, I'll show you. I'm listening, master, said Lin Feng, rising up in the air. The golden ape also flew up. Lin Feng's body suddenly stiffened. An incredible oppressive strength surrounded him and gave him the impression he was going to explode. Lin Feng grimaced. How terrifying. However, he still moved forwards and attacked the golden ape with his sword. But at that moment, apart from oppressive strength, heavy strength surrounded him and prevented him from moving forwards. Lin Feng noticed how incredible the difference between him and the ape was. He was astonished. He released fast strength, and moved like the wind towards the ape while releasing sword strength. The sword crashed against the ape's skin, which was as thick as an earth armor. It couldn't pierce through. At the same time, the ape raised his hand and moved it towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng could sense how oppressive the heavy strength was. It was extremely resistant, too. He accelerated, groaning with pain, feeling like his organs were going to explode as he coughed blood. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He looked astonished. He was a low-level saint and he could defeat them extremely easily. He hadn't thought the difference between low-level saints and high-level saints would be so incredible. So, did you sense it? That's how powerful Earth original strength is: oppression strength, heaviness strength, thick strength, defense strength. All those kinds of strength are Earth original strength. And golden apes don't only control Earth strength, even high-level saints are like insects in front of him, said the old ox. Is the difference between high-level saints and other high-level saints bigger than the difference between low-level and high-level saints? Asked Lin Feng to the old ox. Of course, things also depend on which strength you control. Now imagine if one cultivator has one original strength at the maximum level and another one has two original strengths at the maximum level, which one has the advantage? Among the high-level bestial saints in front of you, a few of them also use a fusion of original strengths, but because these kinds of original strengths are inconsistent with the criteria to become a peerless saint, they're still high-level bestial saints. So now, in your opinion, who is stronger, someone who controls two sorts of original strengths, or someone who uses a fusion of two original strengths? The old ox said to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was speechless. Of course, fusions of original strengths were probably more powerful. In order to make original strengths fuse, a cultivator had to understand them really well, which meant they were stronger than others who just understood two types. A high-level saint can be 10 times, or even 100 times stronger than another high-level saint. A really strong high-level saint can easily kill other high-level saints, he can even defeat hundreds of them alone and at once. The old ox smiled at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was astonished. I see, that's why the 9 high-level saints accepted to fight against me when I become a high-level saint. You only understood now? Asked the old ox casually. The 9 high-level bestial saints looked at Lin Feng, seeming amused. They hoped that Lin Feng would quickly become a high-level saint, and then they would teach him a good lesson. Chapter 2447, Peerlessly terrifying old ox. Lin Feng looked at the 9 bestial saints' faces and burst into laughter. Since they really wanted him to become a high-level saint to teach him a good lesson, good, he was precisely trying to become one. He didn't mind fighting against them a few times to study their original strength. It was a rare opportunity. Besides, the 9 bestial saints were extraordinary cultivators with an advanced understanding of energies. Master Ape, use other kinds of original strength to help me study them, said Lin Feng to the smiling golden ape. He was surprised but grinned. That little boy wasn't afraid, he liked that. Use your full strength to attack me. No need to be scared, said the grinning golden ape. Lin Feng nodded. A dazzling golden armor appeared on the golden ape. It was gold original strength, probably extremely resistant. Lin Feng raised his spear and attacked. His spear turned into a light beam and crashed onto the armor, and sparkles appeared. Of course, it couldn't pierce through. When your gold strength reaches the maximum level, your defense becomes incredible. It's better than a saint's armor. Other people's attacks are too weak to pierce through. Of course, if someone's penetration strength is powerful enough, then they can pierce through my original strength, the golden ape said to Lin Feng. Penetration strength? Lin Feng was surprised. Indeed. If your attacks are extremely powerful, as a low-level saint, you can defeat enemies. But when you're a high-level saint, direct attacks are not as efficient. Many high-level saints use incredible treasures, and even without them, their physical defense is also incredibly powerful. So direct attacks become useless. I can make armors using a fusion of earth and gold strength. Ordinary high-level saints can't do anything against me. How do I carry out an attack which has penetration strength? Asked Lin Feng. Many sorts of original strengths contain penetration strength. Earth original strength automatically has a sort of penetration strength expressed through pulsations. When using empty space strength, it's even more incredible. Cultivators who use empty space strength don't even need to defend themselves, said the gold ape. An armor suddenly appeared on Lin Feng's body. The gold ape made it for him. Sense my earth original strength's penetration power, said the golden ape patiently. He put his hand on Lin Feng's armor. Lin Feng sensed a strength envelop his body, pulsating with power. The ape used more force, and Lin Feng groaned with pain. If the ape wanted, he could easily destroy Lin Feng's internal organs. Did you sense that? That's earth strength at the maximum level. You need to study a lot to make your original strengths reach their maximum level, said the ape impolitely. Lin Feng nodded. Indeed, he had to study a lot. The ape could actually use earth strength to become a part of the earth and didn't even need to worry about defense anymore. If you understand empty space strength at the maximum level, then you don't need to use earth original strength. You don't even need to worry about defense. When you use empty space strength to attack, the attacks attack the cultivator directly, and not their defense, said the golden ape. Lin Feng looked thoughtful. Another bestial saint spoke up, "Alright, I'll show you what empty space original strength looks like at the maximum level. Come and attack me." Lin Feng nodded. His silhouette flickered and he attacked. He raised his spear and attacked, however, when he attacked, the spear appeared next to the beast even though he hadn't moved. Empty space divergence. Lin Feng was astonished. He raised his left hand and pointed his finger at the beast, whistling sound spread in the air, and powerful death stamps moved towards the beast. However, the attack stopped in front of the beast and appeared in another space. Then, the beast raised his finger and Lin Feng's attack moved aside. Phew! How to fight in such conditions? Lin Feng was stupefied. As expected, original strength at the maximum level wasn't something so simple. The old ox watched. All of them looked interested as they watched Lin Feng, their eyes glittering. Lin Feng was determined, they liked that. After that, Lin Feng was attacked by an illusion original strength attack, he didn't understand anything anymore. He moved back and took a deep breath when it finished. How scary. You sensed so many types of original strengths at the maximum level, but understanding original strength and reaching its maximum level is something else. And doing it in a short time is impossible, said a bestial saint to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's face stiffened. It was true. He had experimented a lot but understanding original strength was another story, how difficult. Did he have enough time? If the old ox is willing to help you, he can save you a lot of time, said the bestial saint. Lin Feng was surprised. Master Ox, you hoped we would help him, why don't you help him yourself? You can help him more than us, the bestial saint said to the old ox. I haven't attacked for a very long time, I forgot how to attack, said the old ox indifferently. I know our master made you swear you wouldn't do anything unless the new master reached a certain level. But you don't necessarily need to fight, attack, or whatever to help him, said that cultivator with a smile. Lin Feng didn't understand. He only knew that the old ox was the manager of that world. He could go anywhere in this world, just like Lin Feng. He had privileges in this world, maybe even more than Lin Feng. Little boy, you know what kind of strength Master Ox controls? I don't know, said Lin Feng, shaking his head. He was convinced the old ox was extremely strong, but he didn't know how strong. From what I know, 4 of his original strengths have reached the maximum level and he has already fused them together. You can't imagine how strong he is, said that bestial saint with a smile. Lin Feng frowned. A fusion of 4 original strengths? How terrifying. He even controlled special kinds of original strengths, since he was a peerless saint. Which ones? A fusion of slow and fast allows a cultivator to make time and things move slower or faster. Have you ever heard of that? Asked the bestial saint smiling. Lin Feng nodded, I have. With empty space strength at the maximum level, a cultivator can also modify time and space, explained the bestial saint. Lin Feng was shocked and looked at the old ox. Master Ox, you can modify the speed at which time passes. The old ox remained silent, but nodded. He admitted he could. How strong. Slow and fast strength can really do that. How incredible. Thought Lin Feng, delighted. The old ox controlled empty space original strength at the maximum level. It meant that he could make time pass slower or faster than in other places. Please help me, Lin Feng asked the old ox. The bestial saint's eyes twinkled. They wanted to see the old ox's incredible methods, as making time pass faster or slower was something incredible to see. They would also be able to study it. Therefore, they tried to help Lin Feng. "All right, I will," said the old ox. He released a mysterious kind of strength, which filled the air. Lin Feng suddenly had a strange sensation, but he couldn't describe what it felt like. He raised his arms. He wasn't moving faster or slower, it wasn't like fast or slow strength, it was extremely strange. The speed at which time passes now has already changed. "I will protect you from outside. One day in the outside world is like a dozen days here," said the old ox to Lin Feng and the others. "My master and I studied this kind of strength in Ganji's time. When you stay there for years and come out, you realize only 2 days pass in the outside world, but you don't feel anything strange there. You just save time." Ganji's time. Lin Feng looked surprised. The old ox and the god had been to Ganji's time, and they had come out safe and sound. Ganji's time was a forbidden territory, some other people had also come out safe and sound. There was a legend in the continent of the 9 clouds, where some people went to Ganji's time and when they came out, they were already so old that they were about to die. No wonder. If time passed extremely quickly inside, everything was possible. As Lin Feng was practicing cultivation with the high-level saints, the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine arrived at the empty space shrine. An empty space palace was floating in front of them. They looked furious and determined. That's how the situation in the continent of the 9 clouds really became explosive. Chapter 2448, Chaotic Battles. The shrines were the most powerful groups in the continent of the 9 clouds. They didn't need to protect themselves because nobody dared attack them in normal times. However, in times of turmoil, things were different and nobody could anticipate a world sinking into chaos. When the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine landed in the empty space shrine, the whole empty space shrine was shaken. Some incredible strong cultivators were in the empty space shrine to punish them. In a very short time, corpses fell from the sky, one after another. A terrifying chi filled the air. Everybody felt the pressure. 5 people had appeared in the sky above the empty space shrine. Those 5 people looked like gods, especially the one who was holding a scepter from which destiny lights emerged. He looked like an almighty god. "Fortune Shrine, what's this supposed to mean?" asked someone at that moment coldly. An ice-cold energy filled the air. The empty space shrine used the celestial sealing map to seal the city and to attack the disciples of the Fortune Shrine. "We obviously can't stay aside and watch, right? So we came with the scepter of destiny," said the strong cultivator in the middle calmly. The strong cultivators of the empty space shrine looked furious. Many people were shuddering with fear. The empty space shrine was sinking into chaos and fear. The scepter of destiny was a precious item of the same level as the celestial sealing map. The celestial sealing map could seal heaven and earth, the scepter of destiny contained the destiny heavenly destruction technique. "Everything is negotiable," said a strong cultivator of the empty space shrine in a trembling voice. The 5 peerless saints of the Fortune Shrine had come with the scepter of destiny, they were just insane. "When you sealed the city, you didn't ask us if we wanted to talk," said a strong cultivator of the Fortune Shrine coldly. "The world has sunk into chaos. Everything is allowed. Since you used the celestial sealing map, we use a similar weapon and peerless saints can attack as well, there are no rules anymore." After that, he raised his hand and threw out the scepter of destiny. It floated in the air and destiny lights appeared all around the empty space shrine. "Feel the strength of destiny," said a strong cultivator of the Fortune Shrine coldly. Destiny lights enveloped the empty space shrine. The terrifying destiny strength kept rolling in waves all around. "No!" shouted someone furiously. The empty space shrine was really going to sink into chaos. The Fortune Shrine was crazy. They had decided to attack the empty space shrine directly. They had come with the scepter of destiny and the empty space shrine didn't have the celestial sealing map to protect themselves. "Seal!" said someone coldly. Instantly, some golden lights appeared and flashed. They sealed the whole shrine. However, the peerless saints of the Fortune Shrine just smiled coldly. One of them raised his hand above his head and celestial star strength appeared in the sky and turned into a cosmic rain. Gigantic meteorites started falling from the sky, crashed onto the golden lights, and destroyed them. Lights flashed, strong cultivators landed in front of the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine. The space became distorted, a vortex appeared and started absorbing the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine. Humph. The few saints smiled coldly and simply dispersed. Condense, said a strong cultivator of the empty space shrine coldly. A saint of the Fortune Shrine had the sensation as if he were trapped in moving sands. The space around him was being sealed. The strong cultivator of the empty space shrine then teleported himself and reappeared next to the Fortune Shrine's strong cultivators. He raised his finger and the space around him crackled. The Fortune Shrine's strong cultivators shouted furiously and attacked. The atmosphere kept crackling. The peerless saints of the Fortune Shrine turned into light beams. The empty space shrine's strong cultivators didn't feel relaxed at all. A mysterious strength surrounded the strong cultivator of the empty space shrine. "Break!" shouted that strong cultivator furiously. His body exploded and he turned into millions of pieces before vanishing. On the other side, there was a terrifying battle going on. The body of the peerless empty space shrine saint which had just exploded condensed again there. At the same time, the peerless saints of the Fortune Shrine reappeared, moving together in perfect harmony. At that cultivation level, battles were unimaginably fantastic. However, the space wasn't sealed. The scepter of destiny flashed again. The strong cultivators of the empty space shrine were deathly pale and shaking. That ancient scepter of destiny was a deadly weapon. It could defy the laws of physics and kill people. Many of the empty space shrine's strongest cultivators kept falling from the sky one after another. "Have the celestial sealing map come back," shouted someone. At that moment, in the City, Cheong Fan was seated cross-legged and suddenly pulled a long face. His face paled. "Cheong Fan, the Fortune Shrine came to our shrine with the scepter of destiny. I need the celestial sealing map to come back," shouted someone explosively. That voice reverberated everywhere in the City. At that moment, people in the City raised their heads and looked at the sky. It was undulating. Everybody was trembling. The Fortune Shrine had gone to the empty space shrine with the scepter of destiny. How incredible! Would that bring the conflicts to the next level? No. The Fortune Shrine wants to protect Lin Feng at all costs, which means he is definitely in the City. Besides, we can now be sure that he's a forbidden person, replied Cheong Fan. They couldn't let Lin Feng live. The Fortune Shrine was going crazy because of him. They wanted to make the empty space shrine bring the celestial sealing map back. "Humph. We can't fight on all fronts," said a voice in the sky again. "Since we all agreed on a plan, dear friends, all the shrines should help. Since the empty space shrine is helping in the City, send your strong cultivators to the empty space shrine to help. The Fortune Shrine won't be able to do anything if all the shrines encircle them," said Cheong Fan. "The Fire Shrine is really willing to help, so of course I will go there right now. If the others don't help, then we'll give up on Lin Feng." Cheong Fan disappeared and forgot about Lin Feng for the time being. As long as the celestial sealing map was over the City, Lin Feng couldn't escape. They had to help the empty space shrine first. The Fortune Shrine is not afraid, and the Fire Shrine, the empty space shrine, and many other shrines are collaborating. It's too dangerous. Many people shuddered. If all the shrines joined hands, wouldn't they be able to destroy the Fortune Shrine easily? People's hearts were pounding. The empty space shrine had decided to use the celestial sealing map because of Lin Feng. They wanted to kill him at all costs. And now the Fortune Shrine had gone to attack the Empty Space Shrine directly, also because of Lin Feng. At that moment, a hole appeared in the celestial ceiling map and people left through it, disappearing from everyone's field of vision. Everybody understood that those were people who were teleporting to the Empty Space Shrine. After that, the celestial ceiling map shut itself again, and the U-City was sealed once more. I wonder what's happening in the Empty Space Shrine, murmured many people, gazing into the distance. There was probably a terrifying battle as fierce as the war in the ancient past. Since the end of the war in the old days, the shrines had never fought again. The world is sinking into chaos more and more every day, whispered an old man in the U-City, looking up at the sky. Li Xiao and the others were astonished when they appeared in the sky of the Empty Space Shrine. After Cheong Fan had left, Ordinary had seen them off too. They were annoyed because even though they were Shrine's members, if Cheong Fan wasn't there, Ordinary wasn't willing to host them. Next to Ordinary, Ao Songhai said, "The world has sunk into turmoil because of Lin Feng. I wonder how big the first Shrine's battle will be." "Don't worry, you can't imagine how complex the Shrine's plans can be," said Ordinary, smiling as if he understood things clearly. "What do you mean?" asked Ao Songhai. "The Fortune Shrine wants to protect that cultivator called Lin Feng, so they went to the Empty Space Shrine, and they must have killed many strong cultivators there, but no Peerless Saint will die. That battle isn't a decisive battle, its sole purpose is to annoy the Empty Space Shrine. After the others arrive, the Fortune Shrine will leave. Do you really think the Fortune Shrine would take the risk of getting destroyed? And do you think that other shrines would take the risk of trying to kill the Fortune Shrine's Peerless Saints?" Ordinary smiled. He was a Peerless Saint, so he understood that for a shrine to kill a Peerless Saint, they had to make great efforts, and they had to be willing to suffer incredible losses, too. "Master, you're really far-sighted, but if someone has the power to kill those Peerless Saints and to break the balance, they will," said Ao Songhai. "I know Lin Feng, he's a good guy. He probably has a forbidden body. I wonder whether he will survive. Funny, I also know a little boy called Lin Feng," Ordinary smiled. "But breaking the balance is easier said than done. All the shrines have precious items like the celestial ceiling map." "Yes, such items are the shrine's ultimate trump cards," Ao Songhai agreed. Ordinary smiled and didn't say anything else, he just raised his glass of liquor. He was curious to see how the world would evolve in this time of chaos. Chapter 2449, discovered the U-City had been sealed for a few days already. Local people were not going through happy times, nobody could guess how the situation was going to evolve. At the same time, Mou, Ho Chin Lin, and the others were also stuck in the U-City. They were so worried that their hearts burned constantly. They had no news from Lin Feng, and they had no news regarding the shrine's battle either. They didn't know where to go to be safe. But the Fortune Shrine had gone to the Empty Space Shrine to kill people to protect Lin Feng. It was incredible. The continent of the 9 clouds hadn't been so lively since the ancient war. Time passed. Lights appeared in the celestial ceiling map. A few people descended from the sky and landed in the U-City. The crowd was astonished, the Shrine's alliance was back so soon. How had the Shrine's battle ended? Ordinary, the supreme cultivator, was still with his guests. He wanted to settle in the U-City, and had recruited some disciples. That's why he had invited some friends as well. It wasn't surprising. "They're back." "Songhai, how do you think the battle ended?" asked Ordinary with a grin. "The Empty Space Shrine has lost many strong cultivators, including some high-level saints. The Fortune Shrine went there, and probably didn't leave empty-handed," replied Ao Songhai. "Regarding the alliance, I don't think they will necessarily use precious items like the celestial ceiling map, but I think they will go to the Fortune Shrine. I'm convinced all sorts of shrines are waiting outside of the Fortune Shrine even now." "What you mean is that they won't allow the Fortune Shrine's people to come out," said Ordinary, smiling. Indeed. They must have sent some peerless saints to stay outside of the Fortune Shrine so the Fortune Shrine won't bother them again while they try to kill Lin Feng. For them, killing Lin Feng is the best way to get their revenge. Indeed. But, apart from that, the other shrines want to kill Lin Feng and also, they hope the tensions between the Fire Shrine and the Fortune Shrine will deepen, said Ordinary indifferently. Both of them burst into laughter. Xiong Fan was back in Diyu City. Apart from him, there was another peerless saint in Diyu City, Lu Yang from the Empty Space Shrine. At that moment, both of them were in the sky and inspected the city with their godly awareness. However, after a long time, they still couldn't find Lin Feng. They were stupefied. Same as last time and this time, nobody prevented me from inspecting any area, said Xiong Fan. Maybe he has an incredible empty space treasure which allows him to hide really well. We need to pay attention, said Lu Yang. He was a saint of the empty space illusion, he knew how extraordinary empty space strength could be. Yes. Maybe we need to break people's rings, said Xiong Fan. Breaking into people's rings was one of the worst things cultivators could do in life, but they didn't care. Let's do it, said the two people, closing their eyes. Their terrifying godly awareness enveloped the whole city. Xiong Fan's godly awareness turned into a fire awl and Lu Yang's godly awareness turned into an empty space sword. They started breaking people's ring seals and breaking into them. At that moment, someone pulled a long face in Diyu City. He sensed that the seal of his ring was being broken and that someone's godly awareness was penetrating into it. That strong cultivator could break the seal of his ring easily. It's them. When he thought of the shrines, he pulled a long face. People's rings contained precious treasures. It was against all rules in the cultivation world. It was a blasphemy, but now, those people dared break their ring seals. Very quickly, many strong cultivators sensed that the seals of their rings were being broken. They were furious, but they couldn't do anything. It was humiliating and infuriating. The shrines dared do anything to find Lin Feng. However, there were many people in Diyu City, and inspecting people's rings was much more complex than just inspecting the city with godly awareness. Lu Yang and Xiong Fan also bumped into high-level saints who sealed their rings properly, so it was troublesome for Lu Yang and Xiong Fan. They had to talk to the saints telepathically and ask them to show their rings to make things simple. They accepted because they feared Lu Yang and Xiong Fan would kill them otherwise. The two peerless saints inspected people's rings for 20 days, but they didn't find Lin Feng. What's going on now? Could it be that he's escaped from Diyu City, said Xiong Fan. Impossible. Nobody can escape the celestial sealing map, replied Lu Yang, haven't we omitted someone? Only our people and Ordinary and his friends, replied Xiong Fan. First, let's inspect our people's rings and then we'll go back and see Ordinary, said Lu Yang. Xiong Fan nodded. Their own people couldn't hide anything from them. They inspected the Fire Shrine and the Empty Space Shrine's strong cultivators' rings, most people let them check their rings without protesting. But they didn't find anything. If he has an empty space treasure, we can definitely find him. So it seems that he's with Ordinary, said Lu Yang indifferently. They both nodded and flew away. After a short time, they landed where Ordinary lived. Why did you come back? Diyu City is sealed so some of my friends are stuck here, and some others can't come in. It's been a month, said Ordinary coldly. Diyu City's people were annoyed, Diyu City had been sealed by the celestial sealing map for a month. Brother Ordinary, don't be angry, we have no alternative, Xiong Fan smiled. We came back because we inspected the whole city and we didn't find the one we're looking for, so we thought he might be here. Brother Ordinary, could we inspect the area properly? You already inspected the area using your godly awareness, said Ordinary coldly. We need to inspect people's rings, replied Xiong Fan. Everybody was astonished. Nobody was willing to let him inspect their rings. Apart from you, everybody here is my friend, they're all my guests, and I won't let anyone humiliate them. I hope you understand, said Ordinary, coldly staring at Xiong Fan. They both stared at each other coldly. Ordinary was a supreme cultivator. If he gave way, he'd lose face. What if we really need to inspect your rings? Asked Lu Yang. Try and you'll see, replied Ordinary coldly. Lu Yang remained silent for a few seconds and said to Ordinary, we have no choice but to offend you today. He released his godly awareness and started inspecting, then said to Xiong Fan, you go and inspect our people. They hadn't inspected all their people's rings. Those who had come the previous time and were still there hadn't had their rings inspected yet. All right, Xiong Fan nodded. They didn't want to offend Ordinary, but they had no choice. In the star world, Lin Feng had already been practicing cultivation for more than a year. The old ox hadn't gone away. He had also made time pass differently for Lin Feng, to save time. That year, Lin Feng practiced cultivation really hard. He fought against the bestial saints, he studied, he practiced alone, and when he didn't understand, he asked. The bestial saints and Lin Feng slowly became friends. They liked people like Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew he couldn't be too greedy though. He needed to progress step by step. He needed to progress with one sort of original strength, and he chose Earth original strength. Lin Feng was seated cross-legged. He was calmly studying Earth strength pulsations. It felt like a heart with veins and arteries, a very strange sensation. He knew that he made lots of progress, but he hadn't become a high-level saint yet. At that moment, the old ox next to him frowned. He sensed that someone was inspecting the ring and watching them. How much longer do you need? Asked the old ox. Master Ox, I'm almost done, I just need a little bit more time, said Lin Feng. He could sense that something was happening. He didn't know why he had chosen Earth strength, maybe it was because he was always standing on the ground. All right, I'll give you some more time. Hurry, said the old ox. He released an ominous chi. In the outside world, Xiong Fan was staring at Li Xiao, his eyes glittering. Li Xiao was startled. Take that sword out, Xiong Fan said to Li Xiao. Li Xiao nodded hastily, and a sword appeared in front of him. He was very nervous, wondering why Xiong Fan was staring at that sword. Where did you get it? Asked Xiong Fan coldly. A member of the Fortune Shrine threw it away while we were battling, I took it and she was gone already, said Li Xiao honestly. He didn't dare lie to a peerless cultivator. Moron, said Xiong Fan coldly. He was furious. He had been looking for Lin Feng for such a long time and surprisingly, one of his people had him. He unsheathed the sword and dazzling lights flashed. Lu Yang also arrived and inspected the sword. Strange, there must be a hidden world inside. We can't look inside, it doesn't work, said Xiong Fan. See if you can find a solution, let's take it to the shrine. If he's hiding in there and we take it to the shrine, he will never be able to escape, said Lu Yang coldly. At that moment, Lin Feng was in his spirit's world. His eyes were closed and he was seated in the sky. He visualized an empty world with earth only. He could sense every inch of the ground of the whole world. He could sense the pulsations of the veins of the earth. He was fusing together with the world. In my own world, I can feel things more accurately. When I made my own God intent fuse together with earth strength, it works. In my own world, my earth strength has already reached the maximum level, but it seems that I didn't break through, thought Lin Feng, opening his eyes. He felt annoyed. In the end, it seemed that he was still at his God level, he still didn't have a normal cultivation level like he had in the past, so he couldn't become a high-level saint. But my original strength has reached the maximum level, so I am like any other high-level saint, thought Lin Feng. A wall appeared in front of him, he had made it himself. Not only could he use original strength to fight, he could also create proper things. Thanks to my God strength, even if my other types of original strengths haven't reached the maximum level, I can still make my Earth original strength turn into other types of strength. That's an advantage, but it's still not enough, and in the end, it remains Earth strength. When my other kinds of original strengths reach the maximum level, I'll be able to destroy high-level saints, he thought. He went back to the star world and arrived in front of the 3 peerless bestial saints. Masters, my Earth original strength has already reached the maximum level, but because of my strange body, I can't become a high-level saint. One of them opened his eyes and said to Lin Feng, "Release your original strength and show me." Lin Feng nodded, then he released Earth original strength. Explosive Earth strength churned in the air, it blotted out the sky and covered the earth. It moved towards the peerless bestial saint. He looked ferocious as he shook his hand and destroyed it instantly. Indeed, it has reached its maximum level. I'll go out with you, the peerless bestial saint nodded. Xiong Fan and Lu Yang tried all they could to inspect the sword, but nothing worked. What an incredible treasure. We can try and seal it with the celestial sealing map to bring it back to the shrines. No need, said a voice at that moment. Xiong Fan was stupefied, then 2 people came out of the precious item, which disappeared. They frowned, that item could really hide people. It really was another world. Li Zhao's face paled. Lin Feng had really been hiding in the precious item. He had been used by Lin Feng. The 2 peerless saints had been looking for him for more than a month. Xiong Fan glanced at them coldly. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was with a peerless saint. "Good little boy," said Ao Songhai. His eyes were twinkling as he smiled happily. It really was Lin Feng. Ordinary the Supreme Cultivator and the Peerless Cultivators next to him all recognized Lin Feng, as well as the Bestial Saint next to him. It was one of the 3 peerless bestial saints of the Star World. When they were in the Star World, fighting against those 3 beasts was part of their exam. "You really think highly of me," said Lin Feng, smiling at Xiong Fan and Lu Yang. He was privately amazed, 2 peerless saints just for him. Suddenly, a dazzling light streaked across the sky, the space around Lin Feng flashed, and he disappeared. How fast! The people around frowned. How incredible! It was a quick attack and the other side had reacted quickly, too. A moment before, Lu Yang had attacked Lin Feng, he could have killed him instantly but one of his allies teleported him next to Ordinary and the others. "Can I have a glass too?" asked the bestial saint, smiling at Ordinary. Ordinary smiled and said, "Lin Feng is my little friend, of course you can have a glass with us. Come, sit." Then, he looked at Lu Yang and Xiong Fan and said, "Are you done causing trouble here?" "Brother Ordinary, this is the shrine's business, please don't get involved," said Xiong Fan. "You tried to inspect our rings with force, you humiliated me, and in the end, one of your own guys helped him hide, you're ridiculous. Lin Feng is our friend and guest today, you can talk to him next time, when he's not my guest," said Ordinary coldly. "I'm not seeing you off." "Are you sure you want to get involved?" asked Xiong Fan coldly. "You consider everyone else beneath your notice, don't you?" Ordinary smiled. His eyes looked ice-cold. Nobody had ever threatened him and lived. "Help me watch him," said the bestial saint to Ordinary. Ordinary and the bestial saint had already fought, he knew how strong Ordinary was, so Ordinary was perfectly capable of taking care of Lin Feng. "No problem," replied Ordinary easily. "It's been a long time since I fought for real. It'll be good to train again," said the bestial saint casually. He looked at the peerless saint next to Lin Feng, who was also one of the 4 supreme cultivators who faced the old ox back in the days with Lin Feng, Saling the supreme cultivator. "What do you want to do?" "Lin Feng is also a little friend of mine." "Perfect, today we'll have an opportunity to train," said Saling with a grin. They looked at Xiong Fan and Lu Yang together, and an incredible strength emerged. I don't believe you can protect him, said Lu Yang, releasing empty space strength. He was also a peerless saint, who could protect Lin Feng against him. He flashed forwards and disappeared. After a few seconds, Lin Feng sensed danger. However, at the same time, an incredible earth strength surrounded him and he disappeared. He was in the ground, and when he reappeared, Ordinary the Supreme Cultivator had taken him high up in the air. Brother Ordinary is using the pulsations of the earth, so he can obviously sense what other people do since they move through the world. Now he's taking me away, thought Lin Feng. At that moment, the peerless bestial saint appeared in front of Lu Yang and stared at him. In Lu Yang's eyes, many silhouettes of the bestial saint appeared. Lu Yang was astonished because he couldn't recognize which one was the real one. Die, said Lu Yang, stretching out his hand. A strong wind started blowing and sweeping everything away. However, the empty space strong wind dispersed when it reached the bestial saint, and then his many silhouettes moved forwards. It's an illusion, a real illusion. Even empty space strength is caught in the illusion, whispered Ordinary when he saw that. He was amazed. Solin also started fighting against Zhong Fan. Lin Feng looked at Ordinary and whispered, "Thank you very much, brother. It's nothing, really. Just a slight effort." Back then when we arrived in front of the old ox, we were already 4 of the strongest supreme cultivators. We can easily defeat the peerless saints of the shrines. Solin controls a fusion of dark light strength, he's a real murderer, said Ordinary with a smile. But we also need to be careful when they attack you by surprise, because you can't compete with them. Indeed, said Lin Feng, nodding. He looked at the members of the shrines and said, but those people really want to kill me, so I have to teach them a good lesson. The members of the shrines were startled. Lin Feng wanted to fight against them. The members of the shrines looked at him with murder in their eyes. Lin Feng shot towards the other members of the shrines. Instantly, a few people released deadly energies, it was an opportunity to kill Lin Feng. A terrifying empty space strength moved towards them. They smiled coldly, he wanted to attack them with such a weak empty space strength. Suddenly, the empty space strength turned into an incredible earth strength and started burying them. At the same time, Lin Feng flashed towards Li Xiao. Li Xiao was staring at Lin Feng. He wanted to regain his lost face. Lin Feng stopped in front of him and pointed a finger at him. Li Xiao groaned coldly. He released empty space strength to surround his body. However, Lin Feng's finger pierced through and Li Xiao's organs were suddenly badly injured. His face paled. Lin Feng put his hand into the golden empty space strength, his hell finger penetrated into Li Xiao's body and destroyed him. Chapter 2451, Killing a High-Level Saint. Earth Pulsations. Ordinary, a supreme cultivator, was astonished when he saw Lin Feng's attack. His attack had the same pulsations as the earth, which made his attack extremely heavy and powerful. That little boy progresses really quickly. No wonder that the old ox thinks highly of him. He'll definitely reach my cultivation level in the future. Thought Ordinary. A low-level saint attacked Lin Feng, but was stopped by a stone wall out of nowhere. Ordinary was amazed. Empty space strength and earth strength rotate, first empty space strength invades the space and then it turns into earth strength. Thought Ordinary. How beautiful. Lin Feng punched his enemy's head, and killed him instantly and easily. Low-level saints didn't pose a threat to Lin Feng anymore. They were just too weak now. I'll kill him, said someone coldly. The crowd moved away to let a high-level saint of the empty space shrine pass, as he stared at Lin Feng. His name was Rong Qing. His empty space strength had reached the maximum level, and he had become a high-level saint 3,000 years before. Now, 2 of his original strengths had reached the maximum level, the second one being water original strength. Even though he still hadn't managed to fuse his original strengths together, he was still very strong. I saw you during the meeting of the continent of the 9 clouds. Back then, I never thought you'd fight against me mere decades later. I didn't think the shrines would need to send such forces to fight against you, either. You're an exceptional fighter in the continent of the 9 clouds, Rong Qing said to Lin Feng slowly. But you have to understand that even if 3 Peerless Saints are helping you, you won't be able to survive today. The shrines want to kill you, not one shrine, several. You will die today. Lin Feng knew he was in danger. The Yu city was completely sealed, so he couldn't escape. The shrines wanted to kill him, he knew it was a critical situation. But he wasn't weak, either. Brother Ordinary and Brother Saoleng were helping him, the old ox and the others had also set high expectations and hopes on him. He knew it, even if the old ox was always cold and detached. Many people couldn't wait to see him become stronger, how could he die? He would leave the Yu city, even half dead. Brother Ordinary and Brother Saoleng were helping him. By helping him, they had offended the shrines. Even if they didn't care, Lin Feng cared. There are many things you hadn't imagined back in the days. Maybe you never thought the empty space shrine would get wiped off the maps of the continent of the 9 clouds either, replied Lin Feng coldly. Is that so? You look quite calm. You don't know how to evaluate danger. Don't blame me for bullying younger people, retorted Rong Qing, smiling coldly. He released empty space strength, which fused together with the space around him before moving inside. Earth, said Lin Feng. He took a deep breath and calmly sensed the pulsations of the earth. Every inch of the earth pulsated in his veins and arteries. Bright lights appeared in front of him and pressed towards him. Slow, said Lin Feng, while moving backwards. He wasn't frightened at all. He had been fighting against the 9 bestial saints on a daily basis for a long time, they were much stronger than Rong Qing. The empty space strength turned into a sword and continued shooting towards him. However, Lin Feng just tilted aside and the empty space strength flew past his shoulder. Freeze! The space became ice cold as Rong Qing started freezing the space around them. Lin Feng was surprised at the chill. He countered by releasing earth strength, which turned into an armor. Humph! Rong Qing grunted coldly. He slowly walked towards Lin Feng, releasing empty space strength which penetrated into his body without breaking the ice. He frowned. He realized that his attack hadn't reached Lin Feng's body, as if he wasn't inside. He waved his hand and golden lights appeared in the ice. A terrifying empty space thunder descended from the sky. Break! Rong Qing attacked the frozen earth, and the ice and the earth broke apart at the same time. The terrifying empty space thunder descended from the sky, anyone who was frozen would be killed. The crowd around them moved away. Rong Qing frowned. He looked down at his feet, where the ground was pulsating. A gigantic piece of ground trembled, rose up, and buried him. A figure appeared in the mud in the ground. It was Lin Feng, who had become an integral part of the earth. The ground was his body. He could sense things clearly, especially Rong Qing's strength in the ground. Lin Feng turned into a beam of light and moved towards Rong Qing. He raised his hand and released strength, his strength pulsing at the same pace as the earth. The ground exploded loudly, and his attack reached Rong Qing, whose face stiffened. He was on the verge of collapse. Opportunity! Lin Feng shouted furiously, and threw his fist at Rong Qing's head. His fist contained an oppressive and heavy earth strength which shrieked as it tore space. In the end, he didn't aim at Rong Qing's head, and instead punched his chest. However, he wasn't smiling. On the contrary, his expression suddenly changed. Water. Lin Feng had the impression he had punched water. Rong Qing's body was extremely soft, it was pierced through, but nothing happened. As if he had punched water. It was a particular defense of people whose water original strength had reached the maximum level. Die, said Rong Qing, smiling coldly. He already considered Lin Feng dead. Lin Feng's arms started freezing. Rong Qing drove his fist at Lin Feng's head. It contained an incredible empty space thunder. If his fist reached Lin Feng, he was definitely going to die. Slow, countered Lin Feng, releasing slow strength. He slowed his opponent down, and at the same time, he released stone strength, burying his enemy again, but Rong Qing's fist continued moving towards him. Lin Feng waved his arm, and it turned into a stone which pulsed at the same pace as the earth, but did he have time to dodge? He started to evade Rong Qing's attack. Ordinary was impressed. Lin Feng's strength was already not bad. One of his original strengths had already reached the maximum level, but Rong Qing had two strengths at the maximum level. Lin Feng might not be strong enough to compete with Rong Qing. Ordinary was getting ready to get involved. Die, shouted Lin Feng at that moment suddenly. The ground trembled. Soundwave and illusion strength smashed into Rong Qing's head, even as Lin Feng released earth strength. The soundwave strength was inside the earth strength, so it made Rong Qing's head shake unceasingly even as illusions appeared in Rong Qing's mind. He had the impression he had already attacked Lin Feng and failed. Acceleration. Lin Feng released fast strength in his arm, and threw his fist at Rong Qing. At the same time, Rong Qing's fist was getting closer and closer to his head. Lin Feng's fist moved far faster, the soundwave strength continuing to resonate. Rong Qing had the impression he was carrying the whole world on his shoulders. When he came back to his senses, he realized he hadn't killed Lin Feng yet, and was momentarily startled. But he was a high-level saint after all, so he said coldly, I didn't think you could control so many sorts of original strength. Even though they haven't reached the maximum level, it's an advantage. You used earth, soundwave and cursing original strengths, not bad. But you can't kill me. You will die. He was trying to demoralize Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng just looked at him in a cold and detached way. Rong Qing controlled water original strength at the maximum level, was he really invincible because of that? There had to be a solution even if his body was as soft as water. He needed to attack every single part of his body to defeat him, that was it. Lin Feng didn't flinch. He attacked again. Rong Qing smiled coldly. Lin Feng was acting recklessly. Did he really want to fight a second time? He was staring at Lin Feng as he condensed empty space strength, he wanted to defeat Lin Feng in one attack. He couldn't give Lin Feng any opportunity. Lin Feng also moved. His speed became incredible. He reached his maximum speed, moving in an eye blink towards Rong Qing. Lin Feng raised his fist, in which he had condensed fast strength. Rong Qing's body turned into water, and his body became incredibly soft. He wanted Lin Feng's punch to pierce through him, but this time, Lin Feng stopped his fist inside the water. You can't kill me, said Rong Qing. Smiling coldly. Nobody is invincible, replied Lin Feng. He waved his hand and attacked the soft water body again. He condensed fast strength in his hand as well as pulsing earth original strength. Each time the earth strength pulsed, the water rolled in waves. A terrifying sword energy suddenly invaded the water, and God's strength swept everything away. Rong Qing's smile suddenly stiffened. His body was starting to disintegrate. How is that possible? Rong Qing's face turned deathly pale. His didn't understand. A destructive sword chi tore through him, and Rong Qing turned into dust and disappeared in the empty space. Lin Feng smiled coldly. Had Rong Qing really thought he was invincible? Chapter 2452, Change. When Lin Feng killed Rong Qing, everybody was astonished. Then, several sorts of qi shot towards Lin Feng from all directions. Several people were attacking him at the same time. Humph. Ordinary grunted coldly. He flashed forwards, the ground undulated and earth strength pulsed at the same pace as everybody's heart. He said. What are you doing? Their faces stiffened. If Ordinary attacked, their hearts would explode. His strength gave them a strange sensation, and they were all convinced he was strong enough to destroy them. He was a supreme cultivator, after all. Brother Ordinary, it's all right, said Lin Feng smiling. 5 bestial saints appeared in front of him, including the golden ape. Brother Ape, thank you very much, said Lin Feng, smiling at the ape. They had agreed that the bestial saints would help him only once, but this time, it was the second time the golden ape helped him. My hands feel itchy, hee, the golden ape smiled, glancing at the enemy. All the shrines want to kill me so bad, we don't need to be polite anymore. Kill them, said Lin Feng. A ferocious and wild qi burst forth. The bestial saints looked bloodthirsty, ferocious, and excited. The golden ape ran forwards, and the ground collapsed loudly under his feet. Stone walls appeared all around, he wanted to confine and kill them in a small and narrow area. The people outside were aghast. These bestial saints' qi was incredible. They were all high-level saints. This time, the shrine's strong cultivators were really unlucky. Lin Feng took out his great demon halberd of desolation and moved like the wind towards a low-level saint. When the low-level saint saw Lin Feng, his facial expression changed drastically, his face turned deathly pale. Lin Feng had killed Rong Qing, a high-level saint, so a low-level saint couldn't compete with Lin Feng. He moved back. He didn't want to fight against Lin Feng. The great demon halberd of desolation absorbed a terrifying qi. The enemy was far away, but he sensed an incredible strength penetrate into his head. Blood sprayed, Lin Feng waved his hand and his enemy's body exploded. Lin Feng flashed forwards and looked around, like a predator looking for a prey. At the same time, the 5 bestial saints attacked. The bestial saints of the Star World were all incredibly strong, understanding several sorts of original strengths at the maximum level. Their attacks were fast and powerful. Strong shrine cultivators collapsed and died one after another. On the other side, the 4 Peerless saints were still fighting. The powerful bestial saint who controlled a fusion of illusion original strength forced Lu Yang into an illusion. He didn't know what to do anymore. Sa Leng was fighting against Xiong Fan, the crowd was astonished. Xiong Fan was in a critical situation. How unexpected. The shrines had joined hands, the empty space shrine using the celestial sealing map to seal Diyu City to kill Lin Feng, yet now everything was different from what they had expected. Lin Feng was a forbidden person, all the shrines feared him and wanted to kill him as quickly as possible, but at this moment, Lin Feng had the advantage. There were many strong cultivators helping him. But the crowd also understood that it was just temporary. The shrines hadn't sent all their strongest cultivators to kill Lin Feng. They had just sent 2 Peerless saints because Lin Feng used to be a low-level saint, and 2 Peerless saints was more than enough to kill Lin Feng. At that moment, Ordinary frowned thoughtfully. He raised his head. The city was sealed by the celestial sealing map, so staying there wasn't a solution, and their options were limited here, after all. If the shrines really wanted to kill Lin Feng, they could send many more Peerless saints, and then they'd all be in danger. At that moment, empty space strength undulated. The celestial sealing map. The crowd raised their heads and were startled. The celestial sealing map was rippling. Golden energies appeared and condensed, forming a golden map. A terrifying qi emanated from it. It was definitely the celestial sealing map. Is the city unsealed? The crowd didn't understand. How come the empty space shrine was taking the celestial sealing map back? Ordinary sensed something was wrong. They were taking the celestial sealing map back. It could mean only one thing. someone had come. Lin Feng, get ready to leave. Ordinary shouted to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was alert and retreated, but at the same time, in the distance, empty space lights flashed towards him. A powerful empty space light flared, and a figure appeared in the sky. It was a golden figure, holding the celestial sealing map. The shrines all have precious items and their leaders control them. That person is the empty space shrine's leader. He must have noticed that the two Peerless saints couldn't capture Lin Feng, so he decided to act personally, thought the crowd when they saw that. The man was wearing an empty space robe and looked like a king. He didn't even glance at Lin Feng. Ordinary, I'll give you one opportunity. Do you want to be our enemy, or do you want to protect that guy? The empty space shrine's leader asked coldly. My shrine doesn't to be enemies with you. If you wish, we can even be friends and cooperate. Forget about Lin Feng. You can't protect him, and you'll get in trouble if you continue trying. If you refuse to understand, I won't be polite anymore. Ordinary was staring at him. He knew that all the shrines wanted to kill Lin Feng, and he couldn't fight against all the shrines on his own. Lin Feng was now the master of the star world, in which there were many extremely strong bestial saints, but could they protect Lin Feng against all the shrines? Lin Feng and the others also stopped fighting. The Peerless bestial saint and Saling also moved back, bringing Lin Feng next to Ordinary. They glanced at each other. The shrines had already lost so many strong cultivators. The same applies for all of you. We can all be friends. I am willing to forget what just happened and not bear recriminations, said the empty space shrine's leader to the Peerless bestial saint and Saling indifferently. Ordinary, what do you think? Saling asked Ordinary. Ordinary took a deep breath and smiled. I've been stuck in a world for so many years, I hadn't thought things would turn out to be this way outside. But I've lived for many years, and many people have tried to threaten me. I continued moving forwards with indomitable will. It's the first time someone has threatened me since I've become a Peerless saint, but I still want to try. Ordinary felt relaxed. He was friends with Lin Feng, and those shrines were now his enemies. Besides, Lin Feng is my friend, I will protect him. If you, members of the shrines, leave, I'll do the same, I will forget about what happened and won't attack you, Ordinary smiled. I'm with you, Saling said coldly. The two supreme cultivators were Lin Feng's friends and wanted to protect him. Alright, it's your decision. We'll see how you intend to protect him, said the empty space shrine's leader coldly. In times of chaos, the shrines weren't willing to offend Peerless saints either. Of course, they didn't fear anyone either. Today, Lin Feng had to die. Nobody could protect him. Chapter 2453, God's Heir. When the empty space shrine's leader had sealed the city with the celestial sealing map, he had sent two Peerless saints, and hadn't thought Lin Feng would survive. Nobody had. But things went beyond expectations. Now the empty space shrine's leader had had no choice but to show up personally. On Lin Feng's side, there were three Peerless saints, Ordinary the supreme cultivator, Saling the supreme cultivator, and a Peerless bestial saint. They could definitely prevent Cheong Fan and Lu Yang from killing Lin Feng, but the empty space shrine's leader was different. Not only was he incredibly strong, but he also controlled the celestial sealing map and could prevent other Peerless saints from entering the city. Lin Feng, go back to the star world to hide, said the Peerless bestial saint to Lin Feng. The empty space shrine's leader controlled the celestial sealing map, so they couldn't guarantee Lin Feng's safety anymore. Alright. Lin Feng knew he was in danger. At that moment, many people appeared and landed in different places. They had arrived a while before, but they hadn't been able to enter the city because it was sealed. Now, the celestial sealing map had disappeared, so those people could come in. Many of them were from shrines who hadn't gotten involved before, such as the Earth Shrine and the Celestial Sound Shrine. The situation was critical for them, too. Usually, there was a balance of power in the world, but then a forbidden person had appeared. They actually would prefer Lin Feng never existed. The Earth Shrine had good relations with Lin Feng because of Qi Lian Shan. They also didn't want the Fortune Shrine to be destroyed, as if some shrines joined hands, then they had to have allies too. "We're on the Fortune Shrine side," said someone from the Earth Shrine. "We'll get in trouble." "It's difficult," whispered the leader of the group. "We'll see. There's a mysterious influential group in Diyu City, I don't know where they're from. Lin Feng is a good guy. If he becomes a god someday, he won't do anything to us," declared a strong guy. It was Qi Lian Shan, he knew Lin Feng. "Shut up," said his father, standing next to him. Surprisingly, Qi Lian Shan dared talk without thinking in such a place. "Qi Lian Shan, you don't understand what's going on and why the shrines want to kill Lin Feng. At our scale, we don't want anyone to surpass us. The Fortune Shrine and the shrines live in peace with each other because they are equally strong. If the Fortune Shrine becomes stronger than us, you think they will let us live peacefully? If the Fortune Shrine becomes our enemies, who will Lin Feng help?" said the leader of the group indifferently. Qi Lian Shan's heart twitched. Things were not as simple as they seemed. Indeed, if anything happened, who would he help? The Empty Space Shrine's leader raised his hand and the map flashed. Lin Feng and 3 Peerless Saints looked nervous. The Empty Space Shrine's leader personally came to Diyu City. Lu Yang and Qiong Fan are here, too. At the same time, they sent 3 Peerless Saints who were guarding outside. "Only one Peerless Saint must be left in the Empty Space Shrine," said someone at that moment. Many people heard that and raised their heads. That person made the Empty Space Shrine understand their enemies had a new option. The Empty Space Shrine's leader raised his head and gazed into the distance, his celestial ceiling map suddenly lighting up. An empty space sword streaked across the sky and space crackled. He wanted to make the one who had just spoken up stand out. Golden lights flashed. An illusion faded and many figures appeared in the sky, blotting out the sky and covering the earth, before they suddenly dispersed. Those people were the mysterious influential group the Earth Shrine had talked about. "Who are you?" asked the Empty Space Shrine's leader coldly. He had noticed them, but he hadn't paid attention to them. He hadn't thought they would get involved as well. "Empty Space Shrine's leader, you're ignorant and ill-informed," said a voice again. An ancient coffin appeared in the sky. "I'm not ignorant and ill-informed, you're from the World Clan, which disappeared a long time ago. But you shouldn't be so strong now, yet you all look extremely strong," said the Empty Space Shrine's leader. The crowd shivered. The World Clan. Lin Feng was startled too. How come the World Clan was getting more and more mysterious? Last time he had realized they were enigmatic and unfathomable, as they had dared offend the Fire Shrine. Now, they were standing in the shrine's field of vision. Back in the days, the World Clan was prosperous. The shrines were unscrupulous and insolent. I would have never thought the Empty Space Shrine's leader would have become so insolent and condescending. "Since it's that way, watch," said a voice. In front of the coffin, world lights flashed. They streaked across the sky, and a vortex appeared, swirling into a celestial curtain, and something appeared on the curtain, a shrine. The Empty Space Shrine. Many world coffins had appeared around the Empty Space Shrine. They came from the ancient past, and were floating around the Empty Space Shrine. Some strong cultivators rose up in the air there and stared at the world coffins in shock. They didn't dare act blindly. "Interesting, the World Clan dares attack the Empty Space Shrine," said Ao Tsanghai with a smile. Even though only one Peerless Saint was left in the Empty Space Shrine to protect it, they also had allies, and the other shrines might send some Peerless Saints there to help. But now, the World Clan had surrounded the Empty Space Shrine, and considering their faces, the strong cultivators of the World Clan were probably incredibly strong. Very good, said the Empty Space Shrine's leader. I never thought the World Clan would reappear and would want to be our enemies. Why are you attacking the Empty Space Shrine? I just want to tell you not to think of attacking Lin Feng. Even though we're not the strongest cultivators in the world, we have the means of putting pressure on you, and destroying the Empty Space Shrine. At least, we could weaken you and kill many of your people. Imagine what would happen to a weakened Empty Space Shrine, asked a voice which came from the world coffin. Our request is simple, leader, go back with the celestial sealing map. The Empty Space Shrine's leader looked composed, but on the inside, he was struggling, he was going crazy. The plan was a total failure. It would be difficult to have another opportunity like this. All their allies who were shrines had agreed to help this time. Today, Lin Feng is definitely going to die. I don't think the Empty Space Shrine's leader should give up. Someone appeared, and around him, the space froze. It was a Peerless Saint of the Ice and Snow Shrine. 3 shrines, the Empty Space Shrine, the Fire Shrine, and the Ice and Snow Shrine. Lin Feng looked at them, wondering which shrines wanted to kill him apart from them. Indeed, if the Empty Space Shrine's leader attacks Lin Feng, he might die. But if the Empty Space Shrine is weakened and Lin Feng the forbidden person dead, then the Empty Space Shrine won't pose a threat to the Ice and Snow Shrine anymore. How perfect, said a voice coming from the world coffin. The strong cultivator of the Ice and Snow Shrine said coldly, nonsense. He waved his hand, and the space around him froze. However, a dazzling world light emerged from the world coffin and blocked the ice energy. I don't care, if any shrine tries to help the Empty Space Shrine kill Lin Feng, we will destroy them, said the Peerless Bestial Saint next to Lin Feng, releasing a terrifying chi. He looked like a god. I'll tell you one thing. Last time, the godly grave was opened and everybody came out because the historical remains of the godly grave appeared. The historical remains were a god's legacy. I am one of the protectors, a Demapala, and Lin Feng is the god's heir. If you want to see how powerful a god's entourage is, give it a try, roared the Bestial Saint extremely loudly. Many people trembled. A god's heir. And the Peerless Bestial Saint was one of the protectors, a Demapala. How scary, impressive, and majestic. Chapter 2454, Shrine's Agreement. The forbidden person is now confirmed. When the shrines heard the Bestial Saint, they were convinced Lin Feng was a legendary forbidden person. He might become a god. Now the godly grave had disappeared because of him. What would happen if a god appeared in the world? Now, the forbidden person was a god's heir, extremely bad news for the shrines. But if the Empty Space Shrine attacked Lin Feng, the Peerless Bestial Saint, the World Clan, Ordinary and Soleng the Supreme Cultivators, and the Fortune Shrine would all destroy the Empty Space Shrine. They would do all they could to protect Lin Feng. They had set high hopes on him. Empty Space Shrine's leader, think carefully. Don't do anything risky because other people want you to, said the voice coming from the world coffin. The Empty Space Shrine's leader glanced at the Peerless Saints of the Fire and the Ice and Snow Shrines. He was trying to think of a solution. A few big shrines got involved today. If we give up, the shrines won't be happy. If the Empty Space Shrine continues, we will be destroyed. Therefore, I'd like to come to an agreement with everybody. What do you think? The Empty Space Shrine's leader asked the Peerless Bestial Saint slowly. What agreement? Asked the Peerless Bestial Saint, rather surprised. First, no rush. I contacted the strong cultivators of the Fortune Shrine already. I asked them to come to talk. Besides, the Fortune Shrine also wants to come to an agreement, said the Empty Space Shrine's leader. He wanted to wait for the Fortune Shrine's cultivators. The Peerless Bestial Saint was surprised. Was the Empty Space Shrine's leader trying to waste time because he had contacted more strong cultivators from their alliance? Don't worry. Accept. If anything strange happens, the World Clan will attack immediately, said the voice from the coffin. The Peerless Bestial Saint nodded. All right, I'll wait. We'll see what kind of agreement you have to offer. The atmosphere was still oppressive, and people just whispered. The forbidden body. A legendary god's heir. A protector. It had been a very long time since something as incredible had happened in the continent of the Nine Clouds. After a long time, some figures appeared in the sky. They were all peerless saints, standing high up in the sky. In ordinary times, people never or seldom saw such cultivators. Today, a whole bunch of them had appeared. The Fortune Shrine's leader was there, too, holding the scepter of destiny. When he saw Lin Feng was safe, he was relieved and said, "Empty Space Shrine's leader, you can talk." Today, the shrines are unwilling to let Lin Feng off. The Empty Space Shrine would like to come up with an agreement. We forget about what happened today, and in 1 year, we all come to Fortune City and we solve the issue. What does everybody think? The Empty Space Shrine's leader asked the crowd calmly. He wanted everybody to bear the responsibility for what was happening. The members of the Fortune Shrine didn't look happy when he said he wanted everybody to come to Fortune City. If the strongest cultivators of the shrines gathered at Fortune City, it would be extremely dangerous for the Fortune Shrine. Was the Empty Space Shrine's leader trying to find a strategy to destroy the Fortune Shrine? And then, inquired the Fortune Shrine's leader coldly. The battles today all happened because of Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng just watched. I think he should solve the issue himself. He should be fighting. On the day of the agreement, all the shrines can select a high-level saint who will fight against Lin Feng in a battle to death. If we win, Lin Feng will be dead, and if you still try to protect Lin Feng, we'll have no choice but to destroy the Fortune Shrine. Ridiculous. 1 year. How ridiculous, said the Fortune Shrine's leader coldly. He had faith in Lin Feng's talent, but 1 year was nothing. How could he fight in 1 year? If the shrine selected strong cultivators, they'd choose people who controlled several sorts of original strengths at the maximum level, terrifyingly strong high-level saints. The difference between high-level saints could be much more incredible than between high-level saints and low-level saints. Someone who understood one sort of original strength at the maximum level was a high-level saint, someone who understood several sorts of original strengths at the maximum level was also a high-level saint, and someone who understands several sorts of original strengths at the maximum level and could make them fuse was also a high-level saint. Of course, there could incredible differences between peerless saints too, it depended on which kind of original strengths they fused. It was impossible to assess the strength of a peerless saint before having seen them battle. Therefore, 1 year was ridiculous. It was too short. Not to mention you said you wanted to gather in our city. If anything happens, the Fortune Shrine will be destroyed. You don't have a choice. You either give up Lin Feng and you leave, we won't do anything to you if you do, or you accept. If Lin Feng doesn't die, we'll gather in the Fortune Shrine, said the Empty Space Shrine's leader firmly. The crowd understood that the Empty Space Shrine's leader really wanted Lin Feng to die. He also wanted to destroy the Fortune Shrine, and he didn't need to act alone because he had support. If you don't trust me, you can invite all the shrines when the time comes. If Lin Feng dies, then the Fortune Shrine will have nothing to fear anymore. If he doesn't, the Fortune Shrine will get destroyed. You can choose, said the Empty Space Shrine's leader slyly. If Lin Feng was defeated, Ordinary and the others would probably protect Lin Feng and take him away. That way, the Fortune Shrine would definitely get destroyed. If the Fortune Shrine didn't want to get destroyed, they had to let Lin Feng die. He didn't need to worry about the protectors and the others on Lin Feng's side, because if all the shrines of their alliance gathered in Fortune Shrine, at least it would prove they did it with good reason, and they had the advantage in terms of strength. He was convinced that his opponents would make the right decision. When in danger, it was better to be selfish. The empty space shrine was convinced that the situation would be perfect for them a year later. For the time being, they couldn't kill Lin Feng. Another possibility was if Lin Feng didn't show up, things would be even easier. They would immediately destroy the fortune shrine, and then Lin Feng wouldn't need to show up again. What if Lin Feng wins? Asked the Peerless Bestial Saint. If Lin Feng wins, we will all disperse, said the empty space shrine's leader. And then you'll be able to continue chasing Lin Feng. No matter if Lin Feng wins or loses, for you, everything will remain perfect. If he dies, it's justified. If he wins, you'll find an excuse to destroy the fortune shrine, and then you'll chase Lin Feng and kill him, said the Peerless Bestial Saint coldly. Don't be so pessimistic. You saw what happened today. The shrines won't easily give up, said the empty space shrine's leader coldly. That agreement is all right. I can invite some extremely strong cultivators of the supreme animal world to come and watch. They can also act as referees. What do you think, empty space shrine's leader, said Ao Tsanghai smiling. The empty space shrine's leader was surprised and said. If our dear friends from the supreme animal world agree, no problem. But 1 year is too short. In 1 year, low-level saints should fight against Lin Feng. To fight against stronger cultivators, you need to wait for at least 50 years, said Ao Tsanghai indifferently. No. You saw how quickly he progresses. He has a forbidden body. 50 years is too short. I'm sure nobody would agree. 20 years then. You know it's already short, said the Peerless Bestial Saint. 3 years, that's all we can propose, said the empty space shrine's leader coldly. 3 years is too short, said the Peerless Bestial Saint, shaking his head. If the old ox helped, 20 years would be good for Lin Feng. He'd have time to study several sorts of original strengths. But with only 3 years, even if the old ox helped, it was still too short. It was difficult to understand one kind of original strength at the maximum level already. Lin Feng needed to fuse some original strengths together to at least stand a chance against his opponents. He needed to fuse at least 4 original strengths together. The shrines would definitely choose extremely strong opponents to fight against him. I have requirements as well, said the fortune shrine's leader. The crowd turned to him. 3 years is too short. Agreeing would come down to killing Lin Feng right now. And we can't put all the pressure on Lin Feng either. If you want us to agree on 3 years, we need to organize other battles, 3 battles. Lin Feng can do the one at the level of high-level saints, but we also need to organize battles for half-saints and low-level saints, said the fortune shrine's leader. The geniuses of the previous meeting of the continent of the 9 clouds were probably good choices to battle. The empty space shrine's leader looked at him. He couldn't trust the fortune shrine entirely since the members of the fortune shrine had some techniques which made their intuition better and helped them guess what could happen in the future. 5 battles. A high-level, low-level, halves, 2 more battles, and 2 years, said the empty space shrine's leader indifferently. 5 battles. He knew that the fortune shrine was alone, and the number and strength of the cultivators they could select was limited. 2 years. The fortune shrine's leader pulled a long face. 2 years was nothing for them, it was way too short. Lin Feng didn't stand a chance that way unless they won 3 other battles. Chu Chun Chiu, Kong Ming, Zhou Rong Man, and Ho Qing Lin could be the 4 others. Will the lights of destiny illuminate their bodies? Whispered the fortune shrine's leader. He closed his eyes, seeing a beam of light illuminate the darkness. I accept, said the fortune shrine's leader. He agreed even though the agreement wasn't fair at all. Chapter 2455, Plan. The fortune shrine had accepted the agreement. The Peerless Bestial Saint could only sigh. 2 years was nothing. Even if Lin Feng was talented, he wouldn't stand a chance at all. The Peerless Bestial Saint had seen many high-level saints in his life, and he knew the differences between them could be gigantic. The empty space shrine's leader left with the celestial ceiling map. All the shrine's members left Diyu City. Diyu City had been destroyed by all the battles, there were ruins everywhere. The strong cultivators hadn't fought to the extreme, otherwise it would have been completely destroyed. Lin Feng, are you coming back to the Fortune Shrine with us? The Fortune Shrine's leader to Lin Feng. The shrines had put aside all considerations for face, but Lin Feng's safety wasn't ensured. Yes, let's go back, said Lin Feng nodding. Then, he turned around and looked at the crowd. We also need a place to stay, said Ordinary smiling indifferently. Brothers, come to Fortune City, said Lin Feng. Ordinary and Saoleng had offended the other shrines to protect him. They might try to kill them if they stayed in Diyu City. Lin Feng is right, come to the Fortune Shrine, dear friends, please be our guests, said the Fortune Shrine's leader. Since it's that way, thank you for your hospitality, Ordinary smiled. Going to the Fortune Shrine was a good idea. The group of people flew up and left. Ao Songhai also went with them, but not because he was afraid of the shrines. They wouldn't dare offend the powerful dragon clan of the supreme animal world. After they left, Diyu City calmed down again. However, it was still damaged because of the battles. The news of what had happened in Diyu City spread everywhere in the continent of the Nine Clouds. Many people couldn't wait to see the battles 2 years later. All the shrines would gather in Fortune Shrine, there would be magnificent and grandiose fights. The Fortune Shrine, the Fire Shrine, and the Empty Space Shrine forgot about invading and taking control of Diyu City. The battles 2 years later would be more important than taking control over cities. They would determine the fate of several shrines. Lin Feng was seated cross-legged in Fortune City, inside the Star World. The Peerless Bestial Saint had gone back too. He was at the top of his mountain, not far from Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, Master, thank you for protecting me. Don't take what I said too seriously. For us, it doesn't matter whom we protect. If you're too weak, the old ox can find a new master for the Star World. I just said that to scare them. The 2 others wouldn't necessarily help you, said the Peerless Bestial Saint in a calm way, and then he closed his eyes. It was like he had completely changed. I understand, said Lin Feng, smiling and bowing before the Peerless Bestial Saint. He withdrew. The old ox at his side remained silent. Master Ox, can you help me save time during the next 2 years, said Lin Feng. 2 years was indeed too short. He didn't know what kind of enemies he'd have to face, but they would definitely be extraordinarily strong. I will do my best, but in such a short time you won't be able to progress that much. Get ready to be defeated in 2 years, said the old ox indifferently. He wasn't afraid of shocking Lin Feng or putting pressure on him. Even if Lin Feng had 10 or 50 years, it would be unlikely for him to break through. Maybe. I'll do my best anyway, replied Lin Feng. The old ox didn't say much and continued walking. I'm off. I need to sort some things out, and then I'll come back and meditate in seclusion. When I come back, thanks for helping me with time, said Lin Feng, and then he left the Star World. Ordinary and Saoleng were watching Lin Feng. Ordinary smiled and said, What a strange world. You can hide inside. I never thought the world we were stuck in for so long would look so tiny, said Ordinary, pointing at the prayer mat. Lin Feng smiled and replied, Brother Ordinary, it's only the historical remains of the godly grave, you were not stuck in there. It's a god's world, do you want to go and see? It's all right. I'm afraid that if I go in, I won't be able to come back out, said Ordinary smiling. Then, he asked, Lin Feng, isn't there a Peerless Saint's weapon, like the celestial sealing map, in the God's world? Saoleng's eyes twinkled. If they had such weapons, the shrines wouldn't act recklessly. They would be able to fight against the shrine's leaders who had incredible weapons. Without incredible weapons, the shrine's leaders might be able to kill them. Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. Are there Peerless Saints' weapons, though? Asked Ordinary. His eyes were still twinkling. Brother Ordinary, there must be Peerless Saints' weapons, but because I'm too weak, I can't access the room in which they are held. I guess I can only get high-level Saints' weapons, which are useless to you, Lin Feng told him. What? You don't even have access to all the rooms if you're not strong enough. How annoying. Ordinary protested. I believe that they don't want me to obtain such weapons if I'm too weak, otherwise people could kill me and take them from me. So, the stronger I am, the less chances I have to get killed, Lin Feng explained. Right, the god anticipated any kind of situation, Ordinary nodded. So what are you going to do during those 2 years? I want to meditate in seclusion for a year and see if I can become stronger, replied Lin Feng. All right. Good, if there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Definitely, said Lin Feng smiled. Lin Feng, called out someone. Lin Feng turned his head and saw the diviner. Teacher, shouted Lin Feng. The diviner landed on the ground, nodding at Ordinary and Saleng. Lin Feng, I was scared to death. It gave me chills. I didn't think the shrines would send such terrifying cultivators to fight against you. I'm sorry. If you died, it would have been my fault, said the diviner. Lin Feng shook his head. I was too careless. My true identity was uncovered, it had nothing to do with you. Anyway, let's forget about it. The shrines only gave you 2 years, the battle will be extremely complicated for you. The shrine is trying to find people to fight the 4 other battles. Come with me, said the diviner, leaving with Lin Feng. They arrived in the depths of the shrine, all the high-level saints of the shrine were gathered there. Lin Feng, you became a core disciple of the Fortune Shrine because you're extremely strong, but you haven't had the opportunity to meet the other core disciples. Today you can meet them, said the diviner, taking Lin Feng in front of a crowd. The shrine's leader looked at Lin Feng and said. Lin Feng, we started calling disciples and telling them to come back, including the ones who participated in the meeting of the continent of the 9 clouds back in the days with you. They all might be selected to fight in 2 years. Anyone you would like to recommend? I can't recommend anyone unless I know how strong they are. Ho Qing Lin can defeat anyone at the same cultivation level as him, though, said Lin Feng. With his reincarnation strength, Ho Qing Lin could indeed defeat most people at the same cultivation level. Ho Qing Lin is quite strong, but he doesn't have enough trump cards and he hasn't been a saint for a long time. I don't know how powerful his reincarnation strength will be in 2 years, said the Fortune Shrine's leader, looking at the reincarnation priest. 2 years is too short. The enemies will only select geniuses amongst geniuses. We have to fight the strongest fighters. Lin Feng, you will probably lose your battle, said the reincarnation priest. He didn't underestimate Lin Feng, but 2 years were just nothing. Even 50 years weren't enough in their opinion. A high-level saint sometimes needed hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years, to break through. In 1 year, I will organize a competition in the Fortune Shrine. The strongest ones will be chosen. At the same time, we need to contact some shrines and establish good relations to them, including the Supreme Animal World, said another Peerless Saint. The crowd nodded. They were in a hurry. Those battles would be extremely important, but they knew they wouldn't win all of them, or at least, that was very unlikely. Yes, we'll need to go to the Supreme Animal World and to the shrines, said the shrine's leader. I'll go, said the diviner. The leader smiled. Maradeva, now that your 2 bodies have fused together again, I'm not worried about you, you're strong enough. You've been managing the shrine's internal affairs for so many years, so yes, you're a perfect candidate for this task. All right, I'm going. Lin Feng, I'll take you to your old friend, said the diviner. Lin Feng left with him. They quickly landed at a big palace. Lin Feng saw someone walking towards him. "Huh, little boy. I never thought you'd become so famous. No wonder you're stronger, with a teacher like me," said the old Taoist priest, smiling and walking towards them. Then he continued, looking ferocious, "I've heard that you have killed many saints." "Perfect, I'm doing research about weapons, show me some." Chapter 2456, Pressure. Lin Feng looked at the old Taoist priest speechlessly. That guy was still saying Lin Feng had become so famous and strong thanks to him. Lin Feng took out some saint's weapons and gave them to the old Taoist priest. "Old buddy, take them. You're a saint now, what do you intend to do?" "Hee hee." The old Taoist priest just laughed and took the saint's weapons impolitely. He said, "I'm a powerful saint now, so you're finally nice. These saints' weapons are perfect, they will allow me to help the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan rise again. When the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan stands at the top of the vast celestial ancient city and becomes the first powerful group there, I will travel around the world and go to other worlds. I want to see what's different in other worlds." "Alright, good. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan is important to you, so it's normal you want to make it rise," said Lin Feng. Even though Yan Di had never said he was worried about the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan or he wanted it to come back to life, Lin Feng knew how important it was to him. Now he was strong enough to make the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan stand at the top of the vast celestial ancient city, which was only a city in the lower world. "Alright, I waited here because I wanted to see you, I'm off now," Yan Di smiled. Lin Feng was surprised. "Why the rush? You want to chat longer?" asked Yan Di, smiling and turning around casually. "We're walking on different paths now, we can't stay together the whole time, and the past already seems like a dream. If you have time, come to vast celestial ancient city to see me, my friend." He disappeared into the distance. Lin Feng just sighed. Indeed, it felt like a dream. Now, the old Taoist priest couldn't help him anymore, so he just left and went off to help his clan rise. "Old buddy, I hope you will never die. If you need anything, feel free to ask me," shouted Lin Feng running forwards. "Don't worry, I don't mind asking you for help when I'm in need," laughed a distant voice. Lin Feng smiled. He turned to the diviner and said, "Teacher, I'm going." The diviner nodded, and Lin Feng left. The diviner raised his head and rose up in the air. Lin Feng wanted to meditate in seclusion to get ready for the battles in 2 years. He also had things to do, he had to travel the world to meet people and get ready for the battles. The 5 fighters wouldn't be the only ones involved. Time passes without anyone noticing it when everything is fine, but when you have problems, it seems like you never have enough time. During those days, Lin Feng practiced cultivation like a madman. He didn't take any break. Sometimes, he thought about his family and it gave him strength. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. In the star world, Lin Feng was fighting against the golden ape, the space trembling around them. The golden ape raised his hand, and the sky became dark. He tried to catch Lin Feng, but Lin Feng could sense the earth pulsing as if it were his own body. He moved so fast it was like he was teleporting. "Earth burial," shouted the golden ape. The ground under Lin Feng's feet rose up, trying to bury him. Lin Feng turned into empty space chi again and disappeared. His opponent's attacks couldn't reach him. "Not bad, you're able to dodge my attacks now. You're not wasting your time," the golden ape said, as he stopped attacking. "But it's still not enough. Your opponents will probably control several sorts of original strengths. You're too weak. Your attacks are also too weak," said the golden ape. He attacked Lin Feng again. My earth and empty space strengths are now at the maximum level. I also use wind and fast strength to move faster, but it's not enough, thought Lin Feng, annoyed. Not bad, when one of your original strengths reached the maximum level, you're already equal to a high-level saint. Most people need over 10,000 years to do that. Some people never even manage to break through. I helped you modify time, so in here, 10 years have passed and you already have 2 original strengths at the maximum level, said the old ox patiently from where he was watching. But it's still not enough. You're definitely going to lose. What if I fuse original strengths together first, said Lin Feng, asked the old ox. Fusing original strengths together is even more difficult than understanding an original strength at the maximum level. There are limits. If you only practice cultivation here, your progress will be limited, too, said the old ox. If you really want to try and fight against those 3. Imagine that they will be your opponents in a year, said the old ox, pointing at the last 3 bestial saints. The 6 others had already fought against Lin Feng many times. However, of those 3, only 2 had already tried and fight against Lin Feng, but they hadn't taken it seriously. The last one had never fought against Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the last one. He was probably the strongest of all. According to the old ox, those 3 were as strong as the enemies he was going to fight a year from now. If I win against him, does it mean I'll be able to defeat my opponent, said Lin Feng to the old ox. If you can defeat him, you will be fine. But I don't advise you to try for now, because he has a really bad temper, said the old ox seriously. Lin Feng looked at him and walked forwards. The others looked at him excitedly. Lin Feng then moved as fast as lightning. He raised his finger, which pierced through space towards the bestial saint. The bestial saint suddenly opened his eyes, which were pitch black, like those of a demon. The air crackled as the bestial saint moved, and an aggressive chi filled the air. Lin Feng was nervous and felt oppressed. The bestial saint raised his fist and an aggressive chi smashed into Lin Feng's body. He crashed onto the ground and a crater appeared around him. He had the impression his organs were going to explode. Lin Feng abruptly stopped moving forwards, disappearing and reappearing somewhere else. However, the space contracted as an incredible chi invaded it. Lin Feng had the impression he was being born. It was an incredible sensation. He felt tiny and at the same time he had the impression he was on the verge of collapse. Lin Feng groaned with pain. He was struck violently and hurled backwards. He felt extremely unwell. The bestial saint glanced at him indifferently and closed his eyes again. He looked calm and composed again, as if nothing had just happened. Demon, earth, and illusion original strengths at the maximum level. Lin Feng was astonished. That bestial saint could be described using only one word, aggressive. The difference between him and all the others was gigantic. You sense those few, not bad. But he only used a little bit of strength, he could actually kill you instantly if he wants to, said the old ox indifferently. Lin Feng's body already felt sore. That bestial saint had probably practiced for tens of thousands of years. He had an advanced knowledge of original strength. Lin Feng, you can't even force us to use fused original strengths yet, said the golden ape. Lin Feng nodded. When they used a fusion of original strengths, their attacks were overwhelming. Back then, the golden ape had killed a high-level saint extremely easily, and the last bestial saint could easily kill the golden ape. I'm going out, said Lin Feng, and then he left. He arrived in his own spirit's world. Meng Qin was in the empire of Shuiyu with his family members. Lin Feng wanted to rest for a few days. He had practiced like a madman for a while, maybe taking a rest and some nice moments would be helpful. In the outside world, the shrines continued competing over territories and so on. The diviner had been to the supreme animal world and was now back with some news. Chapter 2457, Godly Phoenix Clan in the Fortune Shrine. A group of people was seated cross-legged in a starry place. The diviner was present. The shrine's leader's eyes were closed, he was moving his fingers, starlight illuminated him. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and looked at the stars. He looked surprised and asked, Maradeva, which clan has an incredible genius in the supreme animal world? The Godly Phoenix Clan, said the diviner. He initially wanted to tell the leader about it, but it seemed like the leader had already guessed it. After the meeting of the continent of the 9 clouds, the destiny wheel rotated and our stars are now different. There are many destiny lights I can't understand anymore, the Fortune Shrine's leader sighed. Leader, you already saw that an incredible genius had appeared in the supreme animal world. That's already very rare, and divination is not easy, responded the diviner. How's the genius of the Godly Phoenix Clan? Asked the shrine's leader. She was in a forbidden territory, in the mythological animal mausoleum. She was acknowledged by a god. She's been named the goddess, replied the diviner. Goddess, things are getting more and more interesting. The forbidden territories are mysterious places. And in times of chaos, many incredible geniuses rise. Lin Feng was acknowledged by a god in the godly grave. Chu Chun Chiu came out of the supreme ancient pit of hell alive, and has changed, too, murmured the shrine's leader. Anything else? Some strong cultivators are joining hands and forming alliances in the continent of the 9 clouds. Some of them want to become shrines, said the diviner. That's normal, said the shrine's leader calmly. Anything about the battles in 1 year? The shrine's situation hasn't changed. The Hell Shrine doesn't get involved in the affairs of the continent of the 9 clouds. The Light Shrine doesn't like to fight. The Light Shrine still doesn't seem to exist. The Soul Shrine manages things smoothly and tactfully. The Thunder Shrine won't get involved. The Celestial Sound Shrine and the Earth Shrine hope the Fortune Shrine won't get destroyed. Apart from them, the Fire, Ice and Frost, Dazzling, Empty Space, Wind, and Demon Shrines all want to destroy us, said the diviner dispiritedly. Not bad. Back then, 10 shrines expressed themselves. Now there are 4 more shrines, said the Fortune Shrine's leader, smiling. The Soul Shrine and the Thunder Shrine care only about themselves. The Celestial Sound Shrine and the Earth Shrine are scared because they are quite weak compared to all the other shrines, and now seeing us on the verge of collapse, they're even more worried they could become like us. That's why they support us. If we become stronger, they will become stronger. The Light Shrine doesn't seem to exist. It's a difficult situation for us, said the diviner. The 15 shrines had been able to live together in harmony for such a long time, it was already a miracle. The Fire, Ice and Frost, Empty Space, Dazzling and Wind shrines are not the strongest shrines, especially the Wind and Dazzling Gold shrines. What do they want to do? Asked the shrine's leader coldly. Who knows? All the shrines have their own plans. Only they can know what their real plans are, the diviner sighed. What about the supreme animal world? Asked the shrine's leader. The Dragon Clan agreed to come. The Rock Clan will come too, but the Rock Clan won't necessarily come in peace. The Unicorn Clan will come too, I don't know what they want, same for the Godly Phoenix Clan, I think Lin Feng should go to the supreme animal world, said the diviner. The shrine's leader was surprised. Interesting. Don't tell anyone about that, said the shrine's leader. I know. The Godly Phoenix Shrine agreed, too, replied the diviner. Maybe they want to see who's better, Lin Feng who has a forbidden body, or their goddess who will become a real god. When the shrine's leader heard the diviner, he smiled and said. Interesting, I'll go and ask Lin Feng directly. All right, said the diviner, before he left. The other people who were still seated cross-legged remained behind. A Peerless saint asked, Leader, what do you think about the goddess? I'm not sure. In times of chaos, anything is possible. Maybe other gods and goddesses will appear in the future. It's getting cloudy, and the clouds prevent us from looking at the stars. The shrine's leader raised his head and looked at the sky. The stars were dazzling. There were no clouds. What did he mean? The diviner went to Lin Feng and asked him what he thought. Lin Feng was surprised. He hadn't thought the godly Phoenix clan would want to see him. Is it urgent? Asked Lin Feng. I don't think so. You don't need to go if you don't feel like it. I am just curious to know what the godly Phoenix clan thinks, the diviner smiled. Let's go, then. If I could make friends with them, it could be useful in a year, said Lin Feng. The Fortune Shrine didn't have many allies. They needed to form a good alliance. If it was possible, it would be great. Lin Feng headed back to the Supreme Animal World. The previous time he had been there, it was to go to the Supreme Ancient Pit of Hell. This time, only the diviner went with him. The godly Phoenix clan was in the Phoenix Valley of the Supreme Animal World. The valley had the shape of a phoenix from the sky. The buildings there didn't look as luxurious as those in the human world. They were simple, but still looked beautiful. Lin Feng was facing a beautiful palace dozens of meters tall, containing an incredible qi. Many people were waiting outside, watching Lin Feng in the diviner. Their eyes looked sharp, especially the eyes of some young people in the crowd. Lin Feng, you're here too. Exclaimed someone, laughing wholeheartedly at that moment. Lin Feng glanced over and saw Ao Songhai. Brother Ao, what are you doing here? Asked Lin Feng curiously. You ask, even though you already know the answer, said Ao Songhai smiling at Lin Feng. After what happened in Diu City, many things happened in the animal world as well. During this year, someone who might be as incredible as you emerged in the supreme animal world in the godly Phoenix clan. He's Lin Feng. Many people looked at Lin Feng sharply. After what had happened in Diu City, Lin Feng had become even more famous in the supreme animal world, because many peerless saints had gotten involved just because of him. Maybe the forbidden body is nothing much, people just exaggerate as time passes, said someone coldly. There were two people there, one who Lin Feng had already seen before. It was Zhong Gan, who had chased him in the past. He was extremely strong, a great oriental greenfinch rock. There was someone else next to him, who much younger than him. Of course, it was impossible to determine someone's age from their appearance. Father, exclaimed someone happily. It was Alma. He jumped over next to Lin Feng and Lin Feng clapped his shoulders in greeting. Father, I've heard about your awesome adventures in Diu City, too bad I wasn't there, said Alma excitedly. I almost got killed. Is that an awesome adventure? Protested Lin Feng, while shaking his head and smiling. Even though peerless cultivators had fought because of him, Lin Feng didn't feel like it was a glorious thing, he had almost been killed. They like to bully weaker people. How could peerless saints try and do anything to you? A few decades ago, you were just a half-saint, and now you're still progressing at the speed of light, said Alma, glancing at Zhong Gan impolitely. The Dragon Clan and the Rock Clan weren't friends. Humph. Zhong Gan grunted coldly. He knew that Alma was right, but he was a supernatural bird, he couldn't submit, he was too proud. Besides, beasts were proud in general and showed their emotions openly. Cultivation speed doesn't prove anything. Maybe the forbidden body is not that powerful, said Zhong Gan. Lin Feng ignored him. He looked at the saints around. They were from the most incredible bestial clans, the most outstanding cultivators of the supreme animal world. The majority of beasts preferred the goddess since she was also from the supreme animal world. They also knew how terrifying the mythological animal mausoleum was. So you're the forbidden person, said someone, slowly walking towards Lin Feng. His eyes were filled with flames. It's him, noted the diviner. He smiled sharply and said, "You don't look as sharp as before." Chapter 2458, Fighting Against a Godly Beast. The diviner smiled and said, "Beasts and humans are different. You all look sharp. Humans are not like that. But it doesn't mean we're weaker. Maradeva, many years ago, you were famous. We know that. Lin Feng is different from you, though. He's very young, not even 100 years old yet. He has a forbidden body, and now he's so strong, he should be sharp-looking." Meaningless, the diviner smiled dismissively. The godly Phoenix clan wanted to see Lin Feng. Was it to make such useless statements? Anyway, you're our guests. The godly Phoenix clan is interested in the forbidden body. Even if he's not sharp-looking, it doesn't change anything, we like Lin Feng. Now that we have a goddess in our clan, maybe it's the will of heaven. That person smiled. He turned and said as he left, "By the way, find any place you like to stay, as long as it belongs to nobody." People were stupefied. Lin Feng frowned. Many people were looking at him sharply. Lin Feng understood what Ao Songhai had told him. The goddess of the godly Phoenix clan was outstanding. Now they had organized a meeting there. What was the purpose? What that person had just said was just to make Lin Feng look less impressive in front of the crowd. "Teacher, what is that supposed to mean?" asked Lin Feng to the diviner telepathically. "I don't know. Last time I came, many people were here. They had never seen the goddess, so they wanted to see her. Now that you are here, the Phoenix Valley is probably doing that to provoke people. Maybe they want to see how strong you are and how strong your physical body makes you. They want to compare you with the goddess. But you're very young, and one of your original strengths just reached the maximum level," replied the diviner. He was annoyed too. He didn't know what they wanted. Ao Songhai looked at Lin Feng with a smile that wasn't a smile and tapped his shoulder. He said telepathically, "Even those people understand, they won't give you face." "I understand," replied Lin Feng. "Teacher, let's find a place to rest." "All right," said the diviner nodding. "Slow down," said someone at that moment. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the young man next to Zhonggan. His chi looked extremely sharp. A king chi emerged from his body and oppressed Lin Feng. "Dirty little birds are annoying," said Ao Songhai with a smile. The young man looked at him and said coldly, "Ao Songhai, you often open your filthy mouth. You haven't fought for so many years, let's see how strong the fourth prince of the dragon clan is." "Anytime, Zhong Lin," replied Ao Songhai airily. "I'll go and fight against him," said Zhonggan sharply. They still hadn't settled accounts for their previous battle. He wanted to fight Ao Songhai. "Since you all want to fight, let's have some fun," said Ao Songhai coldly. He rose up in the air. The beasts around all looked bloodthirsty and excited because fights were going to happen. A big battle was going to happen. Ao Songhai was very provocative today. "Go!" Zhonggan and Zhong Lin's figures flickered. They both moved. Two golden beams of light streaked across the sky. No wonder they were the best beasts in terms of speed. "Those rock clan members are incredibly fast," murmured the diviner. He also flew up into the air. "Speed is useless. Dragons like their food well roasted," said Almo. His eyes twinkled. The beasts all looked proud. Some figures flew into the sky above the Phoenix Valley. The air began to hum. Some people also passed nearby, but didn't seem to care. Very quickly, the group of cultivators landed at the top of a mountain. "Who wants to fight first?" asked Ao Songhai, pointing at Zhonggan and Zhong Lin coldly. "Me," said Zhonggan. He started flying forwards, but Zhong Lin said, "Not you. Ao Songhai is proud, but he's really strong. I've heard that he can control several sorts of original strengths at the maximum level, and he also controls the dragon's strength. He's much more difficult to defeat than a human being. I'll go. Zhong Lin was a great oriental greenfinch rock, too. He wasn't any more polite than Zhong Gan. Beasts are really arrogant, but they're stronger than human beings, so it's an advantage, thought Lin Feng. Even Aomua had some incredible techniques. Lin Feng had read a book about beasts' techniques. Beasts from godly beast clans were much stronger than ordinary beasts and humans. Teacher, can you recognize all the beasts? Lin Feng asked the diviner telepathically. Many people were watching. All of them had an enigmatic and unfathomable chi. If a human's life chi could be compared with a lake, theirs could be compared with furious oceans. Godly beasts' blood was extremely precious. Godly Dragon Clan, Rock Clan, you already know those two, the Godly Phoenix Clan, the middle-aged man there is from the Unicorn Clan, the one there who looks like a child is from the Godly Turtle Clan, but they call themselves Tortoise Clan. The one there with the gloomy chi, can you guess? Asked the diviner. Yes, that young man's chi looks ominous indeed. He looks poisonous, said Lin Feng. He's a legendary flying snake, his wings contain a cold gloomy chi. Legendary flying snakes are very dangerous, said the diviner. Lin Feng nodded. At that moment, the legendary flying snake almost seemed to have heard them even though they were talking telepathically. He instantly looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't feel well. None of them can be underestimated, thought Lin Feng. The one who looked like a child looked sleazy and nonchalant and surprisingly was from the Tortoise Clan. The worst was that when someone looked like a child like that, they were usually fake if they were incredibly strong, and were usually quite old. Will they cast greedy eyes on the goddess? Asked Lin Feng. He was curious. The legendary flying snake and the one who looked like a child looked inappropriate. Nobody cares about age in the cultivation world, all people care about is strength. Nobody knows what they want to do to her, replied the diviner with a hard smile. Ao Tsanghai and Zhong Lin were having a fierce battle. Zhong Lin understood wind, empty space, and gold strengths at the maximum level. His speed was explosive. Trails appeared in the sky behind him when he was flying. Lin Feng couldn't even follow him with his eyes. Ao Tsanghai stood steadily like a mountain. His punches looked simple, but they were incredible and made the space tremble each time, their power terrifying. The great oriental greenfinch rock didn't seem to have any flaw though, and his attacks were all incredible as well. Filthy little birds only know how to rely on speed to attack by surprise, that's all. Insolent, said Zhong Gan. He grunted coldly, dazzling golden claws which looked like swords streaked across the sky. Lin Feng looked at him coldly. Rumbling and explosion sounds spread in the air. The sword lights dispersed. Come here, said Zhong Gan, pointing at Lin Feng. He wanted to fight. Lin Feng flashed forwards, he also wanted to see how strong godly beasts were. Even though godly beasts had inherent talent and abilities, at a certain cultivation level, those things didn't matter as much anymore. The 9 bestial saints he had in his star world were incredibly strong, but they weren't necessarily godly beasts. Lin Feng heard a subtle sound. Zhong Gan moved and almost disappeared. However, Lin Feng didn't hesitate to attack. He used Earth original strength and could sense the pulsations of the Earth, so he knew right where his opponent was. The celestial Tao strength around Lin Feng turned into Earth strength. An ocean of strength appeared in the vault of heaven and the air began to vibrate. The ground trembled. Blood appeared on Zhong Gan's face. Lin Feng's attack was too powerful, he had taken a heavy blow. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.